Hitler, Mao, Stalin, and all the rest. You'll see it in my book. I'd like to talk to Tucker Carlson about this. We'll see if he steps up. Back in a moment. Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Ashland. Monday morning, and we've got a lot to do today. Holy cow, Rob Bluey will be along in just a sec. That's Crap, our favorite game show. Stefan Padfield from the Free Enterprise Project is going to join us. Lots of stuff going on with the Department of Transportation. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff with wind farms that we talk about all the time, and Stefan will sort that all out for us. Karen Kataline at 10:05 today. Be smart and pay zero taxes, okay? Use the buy, borrow, and die strategy to get rich and stay rich. Mark Quann will talk to us about that. Jane Puszkar from Francis Howell School Board. We love her. Doug Blair in the chat box at the end. Ashlyn, can you play do you know who's doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us today?
Scott Downey.
Scott Downey. Go ahead. He's our favorite Navy chief.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Navy Chief, thanks so much. Now, before we get rolling here, I just want to tell you how I'm feeling about this baseball situation in Florida. Marlins are playing the Phillies. Harrison Bader, who I wish the Cardinals never got rid of, hits a home run. And this guy catches the ball and gives it to his son. Kid puts it in his glove. Then some crazy Karen lady comes up and says, "That's my ball. That's my ball," right? You know the story. You've seen the video all weekend long. And then now the debate somehow is on the guy instead of the woman, right? Did he beta out of the situation and just say, "Fine, just get out of my face, take the ball, and don't worry about it"? Turned out it was absolutely the right thing to do as far as his kid being rewarded, because Harrison Bader gave the kid an autographed bat, a bunch of balls, and they gave him a package of stuff, the Marlins did, and he really had a moment he'll never forget. And Harrison Bader is a great stand-up guy. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, let's get Rob Bluey going. Oh, we good?
I gotta scroll down to the page.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Take your time. A little cooler than normal today. That's good. Good morning, Rob Bluey.
It's a beautiful day in Washington, D.C.
It's a busy Monday after a busy weekend. I'll tell you, this president never slows down, does he?
From the Heritage Foundation, of course, and president and executive editor of the Daily Signal.
There is going to be no shortage of news today, Rob.
Never is a shortage of news. Good morning, Rob Bluey. How are you?
I'm doing well, Vic. I guess I'm competing against President Trump, who's speaking at the Bible Museum this morning. So hopefully the audience sticks with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely will. Now, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, well, a lot of things I wanted to talk to you about, but Ken and I, and we might have talked about it with you, Republicans, conservatives, I'm sure you do it all the time. We need to be on the offensive, right? And not be on the defense. We need to be a step ahead and be on the offense on things. And I think, and I wish Ken was here to hear this, the ultimate in being on the offense is the Department of War.
Oh, absolutely. That I was wondering if that's where you're going with this, Vic, and sure enough, it was. Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, I was doing my normal hit on CNN Friday morning, and this was obviously a topic of conversation, and to hear some of the Trump skeptics or outright critics or haters react to this, it's like the guy can't do anything without them finding fault with the issue. And at this particular case, I was trying to explain to them exactly what you just said, that by putting the word war in the name, first of all, it clarifies what the department is charged with doing, as opposed to the passive defense that was installed in 1949. But also, I think it serves as a deterrent to any country that wants to challenge the United States. Certainly Pete Hegseth and the team that he has assembled over there is doing remarkable work in terms of reorienting the Pentagon in that direction after 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden, really focusing on things that was a head scratcher. You'd think, why is the Defense Department taking the lead in climate change research? Or why are they embracing DEI to such an extent that it's seeping into the military institutions and the colleges that are training the next generation? And so this is just the next logical step as far as I'm concerned. And I'm hopeful that Congress will quickly take up the bill that Senator Mike Lee, Senator Rick Scott, and Congressman Greg Steube have introduced, because you need to codify this into law to make it official. The executive order simply restores the title that was there from our nation's founding, but we need to make it a congressional action to have it officially passed.
Well, they already changed the sign on the door.
They did. My understanding is what Trump's executive order did, just for your listeners to understand this, is it's still officially in law called the Department of Defense. The secondary name for it is the Department of War. And so you could use, how places do business as another name than what their official name might be. So that's kind of what they're doing, which is why you have these conservative lawmakers who have said, okay, well, we'll take care of that. We're going to introduce the legislation to get the job done.
And we used to call it the Department of War back when we won wars. Right? Sorry, hold on. You're not supposed to hear that. My bad. Go ahead, Rob.
Yes, that is true. If you think about the success of the United States, and particularly in World War I and World War II, and the fact that this was changed in 1949, post World War II, some of the greatest American victories happened under the Department of War when it was called exactly that. And so, yes, it is going back to history and recognizing what General George Washington and so many others, who led this country, actually called the department. My understanding, Vic, is that it was changed because they wanted to shift from, I guess, less of an offensive name to something more defensive. So, I mean, that's how you got defense. But over the course of the 75 years that name has existed, you've had a number of situations which we could go through one by one. Vietnam, Afghanistan, where the United States has not necessarily, maybe put his best foot forward. And that's where I think you get into the situation where Pete Hegseth and the criticism of these never-ending wars. Last week, for instance, was the National Conservatism Conference, where you heard a much different tone from a lot of Republican and conservative leaders who in the past would have come right out of the George W. Bush school of interventionism and nation building. And they're very much opposed to that. They're about using the military strategically when it's necessary, but not necessarily as a world police force. And in fact, look at what Trump has done with the National Guard right here and down the street from where I am today in Washington, D.C., and making sure that he's prioritizing the needs of our own country before those of other countries.
He says that D.C. is so safe now. He's going out to dinner this week.
Well, and I think this is another case of where it's really confounding to me that Well, you have the mayor of DC who's finally come around and has praised Trump and the efforts that he's taking in DC. At the same time, you have the attorney general of District of Columbia who has sued the president and apparently doesn't appreciate the safer streets and the reduction in crime. And of course, you have Democratic politicians who are sounding the alarm that this is a terrible thing that's happening in our nation's capital. Anything but. It is the course of the last month or so has been a turnaround of epic proportions. Now, it wasn't always this bad in DC, but certainly in recent years, in particularly under Joe Biden's watch post-COVID, things got pretty bad, where carjacking skyrocketed and the murder rate. I mean, there were still about 200 homicides in the city every year. I mean, there shouldn't be any. We should be striving for zero. And anybody who is complaining about what Trump's done, I think, has to explain why they would like to see more crime on the streets. And this is a question for big city mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago as well. Why wouldn't you welcome some help from President Trump to clean up your city? I just don't get it.
You could take credit for it.
Of course he should take credit for it, but they won't even have they won't even ask. Now, you've had other people like Governor Gavin Newsom, I think, quite frankly, copy President Trump by deploying, California law enforcement to targeted areas. I think he saw the success that Trump was having, and as somebody who wants to run for president in 2028, I mean, Newsom knows that he'll be held accountable if California has a crime problem. So yeah, you're going to see these Democrat mayors do it without any credit to Trump, and he's right to put the focus on crime.
Yep, absolutely right. And talking about Chicago, the people in Chicago, even Don Lemon, walking around Chicago with a microphone, talking to people and asking people if he thinks it's right for Donald Trump to bring the National Guard in. And everybody said, yeah, we're dying over here. Literally, we're dying, And you know who Gianno Caldwell is, right?
Of course, yes.
His little brother killed in a gang situation, and nobody cares. Here's a guy who is respected. He's a political commentator. He is a conservative and on TV all the time. And nobody cares, and nobody's found out who killed his little brother. So there's your best piece of testimony right there.
It's yes. So many. I mean, you've heard this. I think it was the president's cabinet meeting where you even had a reporter speak up about her own situation. And I realize that these are anecdotes that these reporters or others are sharing, but they're powerful stories that demonstrate that if you're in the just happen to be unlucky or the wrong place at the wrong time, I mean, you could find yourself in a situation where you were carjacked or you were robbed. And certainly even the safest parts of DC are still prone to some of those acts of violence. We saw that over the summer when an intern for a congressional office was hit with a stray bullet and killed. And so all of these things are horrible. And this is another area where I think Trump has really put the left in a box, because they talk about confiscating these guns from criminals who shouldn't be in possession of guns. And it's like, well, the Democrats have spent years talking about taking away guns, and now are you all of a sudden in favor of the criminals having guns? So I think that the issue is really a win-win for the president. But Vic, I will say it's one of many things that he's done. I mean, over the course of these past 6 months, there have been any number of initiatives that he's working on, and perhaps the biggest of them all is immigration, which is another law enforcement surge that we've seen that certainly Joe Biden could have done, but he just failed to do so, and Donald Trump is getting the job done on that front too.
Talking to Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation. Of course, he's the president and executive editor of the Daily Signal. All right, two more things, Rob. I want to try to get through them quickly here, about a minute apiece. But this poor Ukrainian girl who came to the United States, she's on a subway in Charlotte, North Carolina, and some scumbag stabs her in the neck and kills her. And, the people with the little Ukrainian flag in their X profile, they're silent. I haven't heard a word from them.
Yeah, again, it's another tragic situation, and very unfortunate to read those accounts. I'm glad to see that it's getting more attention, particularly over the weekend when I think you had a lot of people on social media speak out about it, Vic, and certainly it illustrates that it's not it's any community where this could happen, and why we need to be vigilant about our surroundings and have strong law enforcement.
Right. It's not New York, Chicago, or all the other violent cities. And finally, Palestinian terrorists killed 6 people in Jerusalem. That wasn't the right move on their part. I don't think they're going to pay for that, and everybody's got to be on Israel's side.
Well, and this comes amid Donald Trump again, insisting that the hostages be released. He clearly wants to see progress in that area. Trump, as we started this conversation, the Department of War. I think the last thing that Donald Trump wants is war. He wants to be known as the peace president. And anytime there's an escalation of violence in the Middle East or Russia and Ukraine, I think it pains him, because he would really like to get people to the negotiating table and not only get the hostages freed, but bring an end to the fighting between Israel and Hamas.
And he went to the U.S. Open. I heard cheers on the video. I don't know.
I heard cheers as well. Right. But Vic, it's like you turn on any of the legacy media this morning, and all they can hear is boos.
Right. God, they're so. Oh my God, they're so disingenuous. All right, Rob Bluey, president and executive editor of the Daily Signal. Rob, thank you so much, sir. We'll talk next Monday.
Have a great week.
All right, you too. All right, lots to do today, including talking to Stefan Padfield. He's at the end of the hour. The Department of Transportation announced on Friday it will cut $679 million in funding with 12 wind farms, called the projects wasteful, which they are. Stefan will join us at 9:41. Up next, though, it's That's Crap. Yeah, I'm 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
You know, you love your property. You love the beautiful trees on your property. But what if they start to look sick? And there are warnings. The tree will give you warnings. I don't feel good, right? When it's August and trees are turning yellow and brown and falling off the tree, that's one indication that your tree may not be feeling well. That's when you call Stan at Roots Plus, because what they do is they have this great proprietary system that will help the trees feel better and bring them back to their beauty. And they do it all the time. They save trees more than they get rid of trees. But if it doesn't work and you do want to get rid of that tree, the money that you put towards fixing it will go towards removing the tree. So they're very fair in their pricing and everything. And by the way, the crews are absolutely great guys. Absolutely. Because we had a tree in our backyard that had to be removed. And it was dead. There wasn't a leaf on the thing. And, nobody else, timber, whatever, I'll do it. So I yelled, timber, because I'm a goofball. RootsPlusLLC.com. RootsPlusLLC.com.
Tim Jones here. When life changes, which it does, you need someone you can trust, and that's Todd Sivia. The non-stuffy attorneys at Sivia Law specialize in estate planning and elder law with 7 convenient area locations. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL is how you reach them. CiviaLaw.com. The first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me receive a complimentary $300 strategy session. The non-stuffy attorney lawyers, Civia Law, 833-995-WILL.
News Talk STL, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, and the Young America's Foundation welcome Steve Forbes to Lindenwood University for an inspiring evening on how free enterprise and entrepreneurship make America great. Discover how free markets and small business drive innovation, prosperity, and opportunity. Thursday, September 18th at Lindenwood University Scheidegger Center for the Arts. And this in-person event is free. Reserve your tickets now at hammondinstitute.org. Brought to you by Mid-Rivers and West News Magazines.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Spin Doctors. Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Man, these guys are great. Okay, welcome to It's 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Spin Doctors. Little Miss. Is that me? Can't Be Wrong. Oh, my God, that is me. I'm sorry. Okay, welcome to It's 1019-94.1. I am so sorry. God, I am such an idiot. So anyway, here we are on a Monday, and Ken is vacationing somewhere, and we miss him. But you know what? Ashlyn's doing a bang-up job, putting up with me, so that's good. So let's put this up again and see how that works. Okay, great. Now we're ready to roll. Right now, it's time for everybody's favorite game show. That's crap.
Welcome to That's Crap. It's the game where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. Here's the host of That's Crap, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Modlin. Thank you, studio audience. Thanks for coming out today. We appreciate it. Okay, so as Jim mentioned, it's the game where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. And today, our contestant is former CDC director Rochelle Walensky. You remember her, right? Now, this goes back a way, okay? So we're going to listen to it. And then in the context of when she said it is how we're going to judge if it's crap or if it's the truth. Rochelle Walensky, we'll put 15 seconds on the clock. Good luck.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
So real-world data. Real-world data doesn't even sound official, right? Real-world data. The trials, that sounds like a real word, right? That sounds like a word where they had trials, they had people get the vaccine, and then did they catch COVID or not catch COVID? They didn't even have time for a true trials experiment on this. And, when they said you're going to get, if you get the vaccine, you won't get, not only will you not get COVID, but you won't pass COVID on to others. We remember Rachel Maddow putting her finger on the desk and saying the virus stops with you as soon as you get the COVID virus. Vaccine. And they all did, everybody did. And guess what? It didn't work. Okay. People who had COVID got the vaccine. People got the vaccine, got COVID, and then got COVID again. So none of what they said about the vaccines for COVID-19 was true. None of it. She got fired. She deserved it. And I'm sorry, Rochelle, but that's crap. Can we send her a copy of our home game? We'll send her home with a copy of our home game. We don't want to, nobody leaves our show empty-handed, so we're going to cut off her hands. That's all the time we have for That's Crap.
This is Jim Modlin speaking for That's Crap, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman radio production.
Thank you, Jim Modlin. This is Vic Porcelli saying, help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody. All right, so since we have some time here, we can give this baseball story a little bit more time, because going to a ball game, especially when you're a kid, getting a ball hit, especially if it's a home run, is what you go for. Really, kids, they bring their glove to the game so they can catch a ball, and everybody goes home happy. So you know the whole story. We talked about it before. Karen Ballsnatcher, I think her last name is Ballsnatcher, started yelling at this guy, put her hands on him, which could have been assault right there. And then the guy's like, you know what? Okay, shut up. Get out of my face. Take the ball. Break my son's heart on his birthday. It's all yours. Good. Do what you want. So here's the problem with doing something like that in the year 2025. Everybody sees it. I was so sick of the video by Sunday night. I didn't want to watch. I scrolled by it as fast as I could. I didn't even want to see it anymore. So I got to tell you this quick story. My dad was a big, big Yankees fan, and he and my Uncle Jimmy took my cousin Richie and me all the time to Yankee Stadium. This happened to be an old timers day. They would take us to old timers day so we could see all the guys that they rooted for when they were kids. And what happens is before the regular game, the old timers come out. They play a couple of innings. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody's pitching fast. Nobody's really running hard. But when I was only like 10 years old. So this is like 1968. Joe DiMaggio still alive, right? Well, I mean, he didn't die for another 20 years. So the cool thing is all these old timers come out onto the field when the PA announcer, Bob Shepard, the greatest ever, announces them. And Joe DiMaggio was there, of course, in the Yankee uniform because he played a little bit in the old timers day. But Bob Shepard says, Joe DiMaggio, number 5. And I got to watch Joe DiMaggio run out on the field in a Yankee uniform with his number 5 on the back. And it was just amazing. So back then, I don't even know if you can do this anymore. I haven't been to a ball game in so long. We took a bed sheet, my cousin Richie and I, and Mrs. Robinson was a big hit at the time by Simon and Garfunkel. And there's a line in the song, God, where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? Our nation holds its lonely eyes to you. And they mentioned Joltin' Joe in the song. So my cousin Richie and I make this big bed sheet, and it says, Mrs. Robinson says hello to Joltin' Joe DiMaggio. And we circle and put a 5 in the middle, and we try to get it on TV. I don't know if it got on TV or not. It's not like you can go, VHS it or DVR it when you get home. But the point is this, relating back to the story that happened over the weekend. We had good seats too. We had seats like behind home plate, up one level, up one deck. And I think my father knew somebody because he used to take me to games all the time. And he always had good seats. Anyway, sorry. So this foul ball comes straight back and lands in our really close to us. And I looked down. My father was on my right, and I was on his left, obviously. And the ball came to the right of him, and he reached down to get it. And there was this little girl, probably like my age, maybe a little, no, just about my age. And she was trying to grab it, and I saw my father just hold back. And he wouldn't take the ball out of her hand. I think he could have got it, but he let her get it, which I thought was, looking back on it, I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And the whole foul ball situation has changed throughout the years because now the thing to do if you catch a ball at a Major League Baseball game is to give it to a kid. That's what you do. There's a great video of this guy. He's got a red jersey on. It might be the Reds, or it might be the Phillies. And he's climbing over seats, going down the row, climbing over seats, trying to get the ball. He gets it. He holds it up in the air. Woohoo! Got the ball. And then there's a little girl behind him. And they're the only two in this entire section because they're the only two who ran to go get it. And he gives the girl the ball. So getting a ball, catching a ball, and bringing it home used to be the real trophy, but now in the age of mass media and cell phones that take film and pictures and movies, the real trophy is to catch it and give it to a kid. That is the real trophy. And I got to tell you, even the kids are hip to this because there's another video going around, and all these videos are resurfacing because of what happened over the weekend. This kid is in the front row on the first base side. And a foul ball comes to him, line drive, and he puts his glove and he catches it, makes a great catch, and he takes the ball out of his glove, and he turns around and he gives it to this pretty girl standing behind him. Not a little girl, an older girl. Like, here you go, honey. And they're like, oh, that's so cute. So even the kids get it. And this Karen didn't get it. That the home run ball was not, she didn't get it. The guy got it. The kid had it in his glove, but she insisted it was hers. You know the story. Now, the Florida Marlins took the kid. Are they the Florida Marlins still, or are they the Miami Marlins? This is how little I care about baseball anymore. They took him backstage because our friend Harrison Bader was the one who hit the home run. Brought him backstage. I said, brought him back wherever it is. And Harrison Bader signed a bat and gave the bat to the kid, gave him a baseball, probably a couple other baseballs. And they gave the team, the Marlins, gave him a little package of stuff, which I thought was pretty nice too. All right, I want to do one more thing here, and then we'll go to break. So over the weekend, Saint Carlo Acutis was canonized by Pope Leo, and he was the first millennial saint. This kid's a millennial, which means what do you know what you are, Ashlyn? Are you a Gen X, Gen Z?
Yeah, technically I'm Gen Z, so it would be like Tony's.
So millennial right before you?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a millennial a little bit older than Ashlyn. And he was made a saint. And if I remember correctly, Father Guido Sarducci, he had a problem with some of the people that were named saints.
You have quite a few American patron saints now, huh? Quite a few new American saints. All in the last 5 years or so. The first one, her name was Saint Anne Seton. And there's a lot of people still real upset at the Vatican. You see, to become a saint in the Catholic Church, you have to be able to prove 4 miracles. That's the rules. It's been the rule for hundreds of years. But this Saint Anne Seton, they could only prove 3 miracles. But the Pope, he just waived the 4th one. Some Italian people, they got 40, 50, 60, 70 miracles to their names. They can't get in just because they say, already too many Italian saints. And this is Saint Anne Seton, American, 3 lousy miracles. I understand 2 of them was card tricks. Next thing you know, they're going to be making the Amazing Kreskin saint. Saint Amazing Kreskin, they'll probably call him.
Yep, Saint Amazing Kreskins. Father Guido Sarducci live at St. Douglas Convent. And, 3 lousy miracles. 2 of them was card tricks. So fun. So congratulations. And this kid's dead, by the way. He had cancer and he died. And they made him a saint. Carlo Acutis, now an official saint, named by Pope Leo. Stefan Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research is coming up next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Nobody at the back door, but no man down the highway. She holds the shotgun while you don't sit down.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Get ready to take notes. Larry Connors USA, bringing you news, analysis, opinion, and education.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
So there's 2 ways you can find out about your finance, how you're doing. What will your retirement be? Are you going to have the retirement that you deserve? One way is to go to a stuffy place where the big desk and the ticker on the wall and all that stuff. When you walk into Serenity Wealth Management's office, you see a living room because that's how cozy and family and nice it is. And the whole process is just a lot more easier for you because you don't have to worry about, because talking about your money, I get it. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to walk in and tell some guy how much money you have and how much money you want. Are they going to laugh at me if I don't have enough money? No, of course not. Chris and Stacy are just great people. They'll offer you coffee or a drink, and you can see the studio where they do the Serenity Wealth Now radio show every Sunday morning, and they'll let you know how to just take some good advantages on keeping your money, okay? Chris has a new book out. It's called The New Holistic Retirement. You can get it for free at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now, Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now!
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Bodhisattva from Steely Dan. Jeff Skunk Baxter, the guy on the guitar solo, by the way. There he is, but the solo's amazing. He also played with the Doobie Brothers. And you know what he is now? He's a defense contractor for the government. Total badass. All right, let's welcome back to the show from the Free Enterprise Project and the National Center for Public Policy Research, Stefan Padfield. Stefan, welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Always our pleasure. So, the wind farms that the Department of Transportation is going to cut $679 million from. What happens then? I mean, is any of that privatized? That's all government, isn't it?
Oh, I don't really know exactly what's going to happen with that. I mean, I assume that at some price, whatever those assets are will get picked up. But clearly, I think the main takeaway from that is, as a lot of us has been saying for a while, the whole green energy transition has been so excessively subsidized, which is just another way of saying that there's no actual market appetite, at least not at the level that it's been shoved down our throats. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to letting the market figure out how to address whatever issues around climate change need to be addressed, and that we get this distortion. I mean, this really dangerous distortion, right? Because it undermines our national security, it undermines our energy independence, which is related to national security, and it also undermines innovation, because if you just decide from essentially a centralized planning standpoint, oh, we're going to go all in on wind farms, you're basically throttling any sort of alternative innovation, right? As opposed to letting the market do its thing and have people come up with a variety of solutions, whether that be improving the way that we access our natural gas supply, which is enormous, right? So yeah, I think there's probably going to be some pain, a little bit of pain involved with cutting that addictive, subsidy train. And some of that will be dealing with the actual physical assets, but it'll work itself out, I think. And in the long run, it's definitely for the good, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, good. We know how you feel about DEI. We've talked about that many, many times. But your article says, we see your projections while rejecting your disinformation. Can you explain that headline?
Sure. So we had an article, basically a hit piece, come out a few weeks ago, and we're actually looking at potentially, whether there were some defamatory pieces in there. Now, if your listeners are familiar with defamation law at all, especially if it's involving an arguable public figure, it's a pretty high bar, right? So you can say a lot of things about people, call them a lot of names, and it's not defamatory. So we were looking into that, but then we took a second look at the article, and it turns out it's really interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, they really praise the work that we do at the Free Enterprise Project and the National Center. I mean, go on for multiple paragraphs about, what an effective job we're doing. And it goes back to the old line about, when you start taking fire, you're over the target. So it was one of those articles, and I wanted to highlight that. But more importantly, there were a bunch of accusations. I mean, the standard sort of thing, right? Like when we push back against, gender mutilation of children, we are somehow transphobic, right? When we say, hey, how about we just evaluate people on a colorblind basis, we're somehow racist. Like it just goes on. And so the article really takes the time to walk through each of these accusations and point out how it's actually the other side, right? This is, I think James Lindsay basically made this phrase, the iron law of woke projection, popular, right? This idea that when people from the left accuse you of being racist, it's because they're the ones that are being racist, right? They're the ones that are telling us things like all white people are racist and asserting things like black people can't get hired unless they have affirmative action programs. I mean, it's just like racism all the way down. But somehow when we say on the right, hey, how about we just hire on the basis of merit? How about we don't lower standards? How about we apply the law on a colorblind basis? Yes, there are pipeline problems and we should address that, but this whole quota thing, right? Somehow we end up being the racist. So the piece just, unpacks that. I really encourage your listeners to go check it out. It's right now up on Real Clear Markets. I've got it linked on my X page at Stefan Padfield, and it'll be up at the nationalcenter.org shortly. But that's essentially the gist of it.
You said something there I want to focus on for just a bit, that black people can't be racist. And anyone can be racist. White people can be racist, black people, anybody can be racist. And Joy Reid, I think, proves that point, doesn't she? You there?
Yeah, you broke up for me for a second.
No worries.
You have me back?
Let me say it again. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
No, actually, I think I caught what you were saying, and I think I can comment because it is useful to understand where they're coming from, right? So when they say something like black people can't be racist, and most of us are like, what are you? What they mean is that they define racism separately tied to power. And then they say black people don't have sufficient power, which even on that basis, you can really question that, right? That ultimately in the hands of white people. And so therefore, black people can't be racist, even if they think the thing about white people based solely on the fact that they're white, right? So that's the sort of like theoretical twisting they go through to get to the place where they make the claim. Now, I think, first of all, that's just simply not the way we think about racism or racists for that matter. But even on their own standard, I don't think it's correct because we see how much power the black community has in this country. So the idea that even through this like pure power lens, like this postmodernist perspective, like it doesn't even stand up under its own weight.
Yeah, I just, when you hear Joy Reid talk about things, especially like when she talks about Trump, she says some things that sound a little racist.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember a few years ago, and unfortunately, I'm going to space on the woman's name. She's I think she's associated with Prager. Very effective influencer, young black woman, and she tells the story of her conversion, right, coming out of the left to sort of wake up to the truth and become right of center. And she talks quite clearly about one of the things that really opened her eyes was she would go into some of these leftist, organizations, and she would be shocked because essentially, and this is her words, they hate white people, right? And she was just shocked about how much hate there was against white people. And she went into, one of her supervisors, I guess is the story, if I'm remembering correctly, and said, this seems problematic. Like, yes, there are inequalities and there's injustice and we should be fighting that. But this like visceral hate of white people is problematic. And her, the supervisor just said something like, well, they've earned it or they deserved it or there's no point fighting that. Something like just brushed it off, And I think it is really troubling. And certainly that is not to say all the people on the left all the progressives, right, take that mindset, but it does percolate up every so often. You mentioned Joy Reid, right? And I think we need to call it out honestly when it happens, right? There is a difference between saying, hey, we have a difference of opinion about how to address inequality, for example, right? But when you start just bringing out pure hatred, right, that is racism. And we're not going to follow any of these like gyrational arguments that it's not. It is. We're going to call it out. And I actually say thank you for telling us that that's actually where you're coming from, right? When you try to cloak it up in this social justice veneer, but really ultimately what you're peddling is just hatred and division and racism, like the country buying that. We're not. So you're peddling it because you're in your small echo chamber minority, but you're not going to win any elections on that. Or maybe you might win one in Minneapolis and New York. But other than that, right, you're going to basically keep losing, so just keep doing it.
I'm convinced anyone can be a politician and a successful politician. Brandon Johnson made a comment that Chicago was built by slaves when Chicago was built after slavery was over.
Yeah, it is. I think you're absolutely right. It is really impressive. And, unfortunately, I think this goes back to our tribalism, right? Like there's enough people who just will vote the ticket or vote the identity. And they are willing to swallow lies, stupidity, crime, destruction of neighborhoods, the loss of businesses. You just go down the list. They are just so committed to and beholden to their sort of tribalism, right? That yes, you get these politicians that stand up and they check a few blocks, and after that, anything can come out of their mouth. They can, defund the police, even though crime goes rampant. They can say it's a safe city. What was it just like Labor Day? It was like, he's getting up there saying it's a safe city, and they had something like 26 shootings and like 7 killings. I mean, it was just, it's satire on some levels. If it wasn't so sad and destructive, I mean, you'd have to just think you're watching some kind of, Orwellian satire, the things that come out of some of these supposed leaders' mouths.
Yep. And finally, Stefan, being a poker player, I think you'll enjoy this and appreciate it. I can't take credit for it, though. It's my son's humor. So if you're playing poker and you have 10 Jack, Queen, King, Ace, different suits, what do we call that? Broadway straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my son says 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King should be an off-Broadway straight.
I like it. Let's make that happen. Let's just start using that. Every time we put it down, we'll call it that really loudly and confidently.
Yes.
It'll get caught on. Yeah.
I have an off-Broadway straight. Oh, well, you win. Okay. All right. Stefan, thank you so much for being with us. Always some great stuff, and we'll talk again very soon, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Stefan Padfield from the Free Enterprise Project, the National Center for Public Policy Research. Ashlyn, can we hear what the president's saying here for a little bit? I know we don't have a whole bunch of time. Up there?
Yeah.
Okay. President Trump is speaking at the Museum of the Bible, which I think
put
is
it
cool.
on TV.
Yeah, TV would be great.
Changed it.
Who changed it?
Through. It's great. Appreciate it. To support students like Hannah, I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools, and it's total protection.
Okay. Let the guy talk. We know you love him.
Thank you, Hannah. Great job. See what you did, Hannah? Who knew? Who knew that was going to happen, right? Thank you, darling. Also with us is 12-year-old Shay Encinas from California. Last year in 5th grade, Shay was forced to read a book to a kindergarten student promoting a message of radical gender ideology that is contrary to his religious beliefs and ours. I'd like to have Shay come up and tell the story. It's an amazing story. Shay, please come up.
I don't know if we'll have time to hear all of Shay's story, but I'd like to hear it. So we had to read to a kindergartner. Shay, I don't know if that's a boy or a girl. We'll find out as soon as they come up to the podium. But This museum on prayer is just great. Shay is indeed a boy. Wearing a Donald Trump red tie. Very nice. And he's got to stand on the box because President Trump's 100 feet tall. All right, you got about a minute,
Mr.
Shay.
President. Hi, I'm Shay Encias. I've been a Christian my whole life, and Jesus means everything to me. When I was in 5th grade, my school forced me to teach my kindergarten buddy about changing his gender using a book called My Shadow is Pink. The book said you can choose your gender based on feelings instead of how God made us. I knew this was not right, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. After my family spoke up, the school treated us badly, and kids started bullying me and my brother because of our faith. And the school did nothing to stop it. It hurt a lot, but I kept trusting God. I believe kids like me should be able to live our faith at school without being forced to go against what we believe. I hope no other family has to go through what mine did. Thank you.
All right, that's good. Shay, I'm forced to read a crazy gender ideology book to a kid in kindergarten. And the thing that bothered me the most about everything he just said was he was picked on for being religious, for reading the Bible, for following God. And that's where the whole country, that's a microcosm of what's happening in the entire country. And President Trump at the Museum of the Bible, I'll be honest with you, I know I don't know anything, and I didn't know there was a Museum of the Bible. So that's good. Get out there and visit it, I guess, if you can. Okay, you know about this hit on Jerusalem by Palestinians. It was bad, and we'll talk to Karen Kataline about that and much more coming up in just a bit. We haven't talked to Karen in a while, and we had her on Thursday. Yeah, her vacation's over. Forget it. Your vacation is over. So we'll get to Karen coming up in just a bit. I was telling my daughter, because my daughter's trying to get me to watch, and I will, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, who Karen told me to watch a long time ago, and did I listen? No. And I told her about when Karen and I first met here on the show, and the now famous story of, I asked her, I said, Karen, with all due respect, I have a joke. You okay with that? She said, yes. And I said, how many Jewish grandmothers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And Karen knew the answer. She knew the punchline. I don't need light. I'll sit in the dark. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. So she's coming up next, right after the news on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk. Yeah, baby.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you'll be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
For 93 years, R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair has been your family-owned destination. We're more than hardware. Find Carhartt clothing, gifts, toys, fishing gear, and fabric all under one roof. 4 generations of small-town service with big store selection. R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair. Worth the drive.
R&R Ace Hardware in Sullivan isn't your typical hardware store. It's a destination. Find Carhartt clothing, home decor, toys, fishing gear, and fabric all in one place. Proudly woman-owned with unique finds you won't get in the city. R&R Ace Hardware Sullivan. Worth the drive.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump issues an ultimatum to Hamas about the remaining hostages.
In a Sunday social media post, the president wrote that Israel has agreed to a new arrangement to secure the release of hostages in Gaza. He said the Israelis have accepted his terms, and now it is time for Hamas to accept as well or face the consequences. The president went a step further, declaring this is his last warning and there will not be another one. Hamas continues to hold 50 hostages, with only 20 believed to be alive. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Israel is dealing with its deadliest mass shooting in about a year. 6 people killed in an attack by 2 gunmen happened at a bus stop in North Jerusalem.
The shooting took place at a major intersection at the northern entrance to Jerusalem, on a road that leads to Jewish settlements located in East Jerusalem. As well as the number killed, paramedics say at least 15 other people were injured and 6 are in a serious condition after the Monday morning attack, while police announced 2 attackers were neutralized soon after the shooting began. This one's the country's deadliest shooting attack in nearly a year. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The operation has been dubbed Patriot 2.0. ICE raids underway in Massachusetts, targeting criminal illegal aliens that the Trump administration describes as the worst of the worst. Saying we're not going to war, President Trump insists that he is justified in his plan to deploy National Guard troops to fight crime in Chicago. And the president still holding out hope for a peace deal to end the bloodshed in Ukraine. So far, however, there is no end to the hostilities, Russia launching another major aerial assault on civilian targets in Ukraine. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 36 points, the Nasdaq ahead 172. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Attention investors with a 401k, IRA, or retirement account. The dollar has lost over 25% of its value in the past 5 years, and it's only going to get worse. Are you prepared for what's about to happen next? We are Advantage Gold, the #1 customer-rated gold IRA company in America, and we are helping Americans prepare for the great de-dollarization by diversifying their portfolios with physical precious metals. We've partnered with former chief economist of the IMF, Kenneth Rogoff, to give away his latest book called Our Dollar, Your Problem, a must-read for investors. Call 800-741-GOLD, and we'll rush a free copy of Our Dollar, Your Problem to your doorstep, and include our special gold IRA investing kit, valued at $49. The dollar is losing value fast. Call 800-741-GOLD now to get your free copy of Our Dollar, Your Problem, and our free gold IRA investing kit. Supplies are limited. Consult your tax and financial professional before investing. Call 800-741-4653. That's 800-741-GOLD.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. This stretch of false fall is coming to an end after today. Still going to be comfortable with an afternoon high of 78 degrees. We have lots of sunshine. There's going to be a little bit of a breeze. And then tonight, our temperatures fall into the 50s. Starting tomorrow, you can expect a warm up. And we are not finished with the 90s yet, and I expect a stretch of them in the coming days. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2 in our 3-hour tour. I'm Vic Porcelli. The real star of the show, Ken Williams, is on vacation. Got a lot of nerve. Taking vacation, thinks he is. But Ashlyn is here, and she's filling in. She's doing great. Now it's time to talk to Karen Kataline. The one and only Karen Kataline.
Did you know that I'm married to a trucker? I feel like using a Yiddish word, famished. Spoiling in front of my computer, I am. They're just too dumb to lie. He has the effect of 6 shots of scotch.
Good morning, my Jewish friend, Karen Kataline. How are you?
Good morning,
my Italian Catholic
Hey,
friend.
how you doing? Anyway.
Fine. Go on.
So let's start with the bad, then we'll move on to the good and the funny and the fun. Is that okay?
That's great.
Attack on Jerusalem, multiple dead, Palestine's to blame. I mean, what do they expect now from us? I mean, what do they expect besides total annihilation from us?
Who's they?
The people who
you mean
did
the
this.
so-called Palestinians.
Yes,
Hamas.
I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I knew you'd have the right way to say it.
Well, I didn't know who you were talking about because there are these affiliations. There's supposed lone people. There are other people that get put up to it and then disavow. I'll tell you, when I was listening to the news and I was hearing about this, and I've heard it. Whatever. I thought that what is accepted always is a double standard. Nobody expects the same thing from Hamas, Palestine. You can't call them Palestinians.
Agreed.
All right.
Yep.
There is no country Palestine. There never was a country Palestine. The Palestinians or the whatever, they were Israelites in biblical times.
Right.
So that's number one. I'm not a giant expert. I'm no expert on history, but that is as much propaganda. I'm going off on a tangent. That is as much propaganda as demonizing the word Zionist, as if it is some kind of poisonous word. No, they poisoned the word. I had a Christian conservative friend of mine say, "What is a Zionist?"
Huh.
For everybody, Zionist is a very simple meaning. It means you support the state of Israel. Period.
Fair enough.
That's all it is. That's all it ever meant. But this was used to try and delineate, oh, I'm not anti-Semitic, and I use that term on purpose. I don't hate Jews. I hate Zionists, right? Well, a lot of people didn't know what Zionist means. So what they're saying is they're trying to parse the words so they can demonize the word Zionist. Well, if you support Israel, if you hate Israel, I'm sorry, you hate Jews.
Right. You're
right?
a Jew hater.
If you don't think Israel has a right to exist, one tiny postage stamp of a country with 57, I think, Arab countries with billions of people, and they can't handle a Jewish state in their midst with borders. It doesn't have a right to exist. It should be pushed into the sea. You hate Jews.
Yep.
It's really not that complicated.
And you know what? These kids, sometimes they don't know what they're woohooing about. I'll explain that comment in just a second. But whether it's
So true.
Zionists or from the river to the sea, and they're chanting it, and they don't know what they're woohooing about. Now, that's just a Porcelli thing around our house, okay? Jessica and I, through the radio station I was working at the time, we went to Wrigley Field to see the Cardinals play the Cubs, right?
Uh-huh.
And sitting next to us was a group of kids from a school. They were all there together on a school field trip. And there was this one kid. I don't want to say he was an outsider, but he didn't care what the other kids did. He did his own thing, right? He had purple socks on and sneakers, and he was reading some book and doing some drawings. And something big happened in the game. And all his friends went, woohoo. He didn't even look up. He just went, woohoo. So I said to my wife, the kid doesn't even know what he's woohooing about. So that's what these kids are. They're a bunch of kids who don't know what they're woohooing about.
Exactly. And it occurs to me that we need to take a page. Occasionally, we should take a page out of the leftist playbook when it's useful. And that is, let's take back the word Zionist.
Yep.
We shouldn't shy away from it. Zionist means you support Israel, period, end of sentence. And those people who shy away from using the word and have to keep changing words so we will appease haters, so we can appease bigots, is stupid. When I was on my vacation, I encountered somebody who said she knew somebody who actually, this was just pathetic to me, she actually changed her legal name from Karen to something else.
Oh, my God.
Because of all this absurd stupidity that you attribute a name someone was given at birth with a bunch of characteristics, which is kind of like saying if you're black, something that you have nothing to do with, you were born that way and it's totally okay and it's a beautiful thing, that you have a bunch of characteristics because you're black. Now, nobody wants to say it because it's fun and I'm tired of being unhappy about it. It doesn't matter to me. But I would know more, change my name because of it, then I don't know what. It's absurd and it's stupid.
It's stupid.
So don't fall for that. Use the word proudly, just like that comedian on Gutfeld who wears this massive Jewish star.
Yeah.
And a lot of Jews are going, ooh, that's too much. Don't do that. You know?
Do you think
he
it's too
does
much?
it.
I think it's great.
Well, I do too. But you know what? A lot of Jews have been used to for decades putting their head down. You know, if I kind of keep my head down, nobody's going to hurt me, kill me, whatever. And the problem is that makes predators and bad guys come after you more.
Yeah.
We need to learn that. So it's not like we're going to go out and have these, 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm Jew and I'm proud. I mean, I'm not going to do that either.
Sure, it doesn't even rhyme.
But whatever that
Sorry.
is. I'm black and my proud. I'm Jew and I'm proud.
You're black.
I'm not going to do that. But if you wear a nice prominent Jewish star and you do not shy away from it, and hopefully not supporters of Israel either should stop using the word. They should know what it means. And then they should push back, another leftist term, on the people that made that somehow a bad word.
Now, the Italian equivalent of that, of the big Jewish star that guy wears, is Italians. When they get a new car, they put a big red horn, like an Italian horn. Looks like a pepper, hanging from the rearview mirror. Right. You know what that's for? That's for the malocchio, the eye, because Italians think that somebody can put a curse on you just by looking at you. A look can do it. Sebastian,
how about that?
Sebastian Maniscalco says, I dated girls that weren't even Italian. They get in the car and go, "What's with the pepper hanging from your rearview mirror?" And you have to think, that's for the demons, Anyway.
If you're Mexican, it is a pepper. If you're Italian, it's a horn.
That's right, Italian horn for the Malocca. All right, so let's talk about J.D. Vance. I know you like him, and I would like to talk about some of his things, like the post that he made on X, about all the gotcha questions they tried to get on Bobby Kennedy. When you're in the administration, you can call him Bobby, I guess, but we should call him RFK Jr.
I could call him Bobby.
We can?
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
Why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
Who's going to stop us, right?
Jr.
Bobby Jr. That makes him sound like he's 12 years old.
And he's not. You know what was great is here's this J.D. Vance who uses a 4-letter word at the end of this post. He doesn't mind one damn bit.
Yep. That's right.
He uses it. And I loved what he said. And, the talk show host of me will tell the audience just in case they missed it, right? He said, when I see all these senators trying to lecture and gotcha Bobby Kennedy, it was a travesty what I saw. You all support off-label, untested, and irreversible hormonal therapies, in quotes, for children, mutilating our kids and enriching big pharma. You're full of it. And insert the appropriate word. I posted that. Thank you very much for pointing it out.
Yep.
And I said, bravo to J.D. Vance. I might add, no matter how many lies Democrats are caught telling, they go on posing themselves as if they have moral authority. That is the biggest lie of all.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is with Democrats, leftists, progressives, whatever you want to call them, and their sympathy for criminal behavior. So this boat in Venezuela, filled with fentanyl, by the way, and fentanyl smugglers, gets obliterated by our U.S. military. And your man J.D. Vance wrote, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. Now, Brian Cranston, who says...
is he that actor?
No, he's just a...
Yeah.
He's an ex, like Joe from Jers and Brooklyn Dad Defiant. They're paid to post, so they get paid. Anyway, he says Killing citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. And J.D. Vance said, I don't give a shoot what you call it. Except he said the good word, the great way. And I was like,
it's unbelievable.
Right on. I love him. I love J.D. Vance. I think in 2028, he's going to be a great candidate for president.
Well, he makes a great attack dog, and he's totally settling into the role of pit bull to the president, which has always been the best role for a VP, is the pit bull, so that the president can look presidential. So he's going to have to make the shift to looking presidential if he wants to run for president. But I'm not even, my brain isn't even there yet.
No, mine neither. But we're going to have to think about it sooner or later.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody always is thinking about it, I think. What I am always aggravated about, though, is that Republicans miss opportunities. They're just simply not enough people going on the offensive. It's only starting now, going on the offensive and pointing out that Democrats en masse are pro-crime, pro-criminal, pro-terrorist, anti-American, anti-woman, and then you give examples of all the things. The most outrageous is that they are pro-crime. And I don't just think it's a knee-jerk against Donald Trump, although I think it's brilliant for Donald Trump to take that issue head on and prove that Democrats always were pro-crime, always. Well, before Donald Trump was much of an issue, or he was president, but he was much of an issue, they let out all the criminals in the name of COVID and imprisoned all the law-abiding citizens in their homes in the name of COVID. They are pro-criminal. I've seen nothing that negates that point of view. The only thing we're not doing is we're pointing it out nearly enough. And some really dumb pundits on our side are out there trying to give advice. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well,
give advice to the Democrats.
Ken and I, our mantra right now, and has been for a few weeks, maybe even months, was the conservatives, the Republicans need to be on the offensive. We've been saying that for weeks and months.
You see, I didn't know that.
All right, I knew you didn't.
Minds think alike.
Exactly right.
They must be on the offensive for the simple reason that we do have the moral high ground.
Right.
And we have to play it for all it's worth because it's true. Who are the people who don't get all upset about murders, deaths, robberies, rapes? People who are inured to that somehow. They're actually trying to tell citizens that, well, you should be satisfied with a little bit less, 30% less crime in Chicago. Never mind the 30% of crime in Chicago less doesn't make it safe even remotely, and still one of the highest crime cities. So, people ought to be satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Because, a certain amount of innocent people getting shot, murdered, many of them Black, that shouldn't outrage you. What pronoun you use, that should outrage you.
What was I going to say? Boy, the thoughts, they just come and they go. The absolute epitome and personification of being on the offense is the Department of War.
I love it.
Me too.
Isn't it good?
The word defense is right in there. Take it out. We're not defense. We're offense. We're going to kick your ass.
It's perfect. And even Republicans didn't understand what he was doing there. But everything he does makes the Democrats' heads explode. I just don't understand why people think that they should put those heads back together. Leave them exploded. They're exploded, and for good reason.
Yeah. Yep.
That I think it's great. And that's a perfect example of knowing what you stand for, believing in it, knowing that you are on the right side of morality, and you know what self-defense is, and you ain't going to apologize.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when RFK Jr., or Bobby, like Karen likes to call him, when he was testifying in front of that committee, and Bernie Sanders says, "So they all take money, everybody's corrupt except you. Is that right? Except you?" And And
I love that.
like
Great.
RFK Jr. was like, "Are you saying I take money from pharmaceuticals? They hate me. Why would they give him money?" It's Bernie Sanders is so stupid. He's so stupid.
Well, I just loved it. I was in the car driving, hearing some of this hearing, and I'm screaming at the radio, "Let him answer!"
Right.
And it was so freaking obvious
Yep.
that they didn't want him to answer, because if he answered, he would destroy them. But he still found a way, especially Pocahontas.
Yeah.
He went after her. I loved it. I was
Told her
oh,
she
that
took
was
$850,000.
$850,000. Notice how she was trying to outshout him when he came out with the numbers and ignored him, because they're so disingenuous.
So,
oh my God,
they're terrible. All right. So finally, I believe thanks to you and my daughter, I am going to start watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Because my daughter's
going to be able to stop.
I know my daughter's into it now, and
Good.
she and I were talking just last night, and I said, Mia, my friend Karen Kataline tells me all the time to talk about it, and I don't know if you and I talked about this, but I didn't realize that there's the character of Lenny Bruce is in the series.
Definitely, and he comes and goes throughout the series. Obviously, this is extremely loosely based. It's like what do you call historical fiction in that regard. The other thing that I would want to maybe caution you about is that many of these characters are giant stereotypes and caricatures for the sake of humor. Now, are there characters? Have I known people like this? Yes. And Jews are notoriously self-effacing, especially when it's humorous and you could get a laugh. In the wrong hands, people would think that, everybody's like that. Some of those characters are intensely annoying because it's so damn funny.
Yeah.
So as long as you know that going in, it's hilarious.
And
hilariously well written.
The clips that I saw, I was looking through clips, Thursday we bumped in with some Mrs. Maisel for you. And the clips that I saw, the guy playing Lenny Bruce, I mean, as far as characteristics and the accent and the voice was just, my God, he was great.
Yeah.
Right?
Very dark character, which he was.
He was dark.
And they didn't, they kept you wondering what was going to happen with him. But then most people, if they're a student at least of comedy history, they knew what was going to happen to him.
I was trying to explain to Mia who Lenny Bruce was, because she's 25, she's a Gen Z or whatever. And I said, Mia, every comedian who curses in his act right now can thank Lenny Bruce. So I said, go back and watch some Lenny, or the movie that you love with Dustin Hoffman.
Lenny. Oh, and the other thing that I said for years is that if there was a Lenny Bruce today, especially before November 8th, he would have been arrested 10 times more than he was arrested. There was as much or more censorship coming from the left.
Yep.
And some of his stuff was very hard hitting.
Right.
And he did it to make a point. It was kind of like Blazing Saddles. But if he used that kind of language today, they would be arresting him right and left. Do you think he'd get away with that in London, for God's sake?
No, certainly not in London.
Hell
All right,
no.
Karen, what do you say we continue this conversation on Thursday? You okay with that?
Let me check my calendar.
Try to squeeze me in, will you?
I'll pencil you in for you, darling. I'll be here.
Just cancel your date with John Zemerick and we'll be fine. Thanks, Karen.
I'll move him up. Okay.
No,
care.
Don't move him anywhere. Get rid of him. I'm your
Is
guy.
Ken going to be back, or
not
we still
this
without
Thursday?
Ken?
No, next Monday he'll be back.
Okay.
Just
so we'll have Ashlyn.
Calm your
That'll
jets.
be
Yeah,
good.
Ashlyn's great. She's doing great.
Great.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you, dear.
See you. Bye.
Karen Kataline. She is the best. And I should have told her this, and I didn't. I don't know why. The first time, Ashlyn, you listen to me here. The first time you can turn that up. Turn that up. The first time we ever spoke to Karen Kataline, we were talking about she's Jewish, but she loves the Italian thing, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm Italian. I love the Jewish thing. So I said to her, should have done this with her. I'm sorry. I said, with all respect, can I tell you a joke? And she goes, absolutely. I said, how many Jewish grandmothers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And she knew the punchline. I'll sit in the dark. I'll be fine. I don't need light. Don't worry about me. I said, oh, me and this girl are going to get along fine. All right. Still lots to do on this. It's only Monday, huh? All right. Well, we'll get through it, I guess. We'll get there. Coming up next, I want to read a couple of X posts that I saw over the weekend that really pissed me off? That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Remember, they're coming after me because I'm standing up for you.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's
I'm hanging up on you now.
place to talk. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Larry Connors here. Is your home ready for the chilly months ahead? Renewal by Andersen has a buy one, get one 50% off window event. And if you qualify, 18 months, no payments, 0 interest. Not sure if it's the right time? Renewal makes it easy. No obligation window inspection. Just find out what new windows might cost when you're ready. No pressure, no hassle. And remember, no one but Renewal by Andersen can offer Fibrex, the proprietary window frame material, 200% stronger than vinyl. Means durability, efficiency, beauty that lasts every season. What are you waiting for? Call 877-WINDOWS or visit rbastl.com and get your consultation. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Did Donald Trump and Republicans make everything great again over the weekend? We'll discuss with Senator Jim Talent at 425. At 525, Red State Headlines with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be here by 4:30 because I've made your reservation.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Monkeys. Welcome back to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. Ashland over there doing a great job filling in for Ken Williams today and for the rest of the week, as a matter of fact. So a couple of things really got on my nerves over the weekend, and I would like to bitch to you about it, if you don't mind. One of them is from Stephen King, because there's this rumor going around. Now, you have to keep in mind, whenever you hear anything that a Democrat says, what do? We run it through the Ed Stoit filter, right? Everything Democrats say, the opposite is true, and then figure it out from there. So Stephen King says that, and he predicts Trump supporters will deny voting for him in the coming decades, because there's also the left and the Pfizer legacy media, as Ken calls them, are saying that people are regretting their vote for President Trump. People who voted for him are regretting voting for him. I don't think that's true. I will tell you that Ken certainly doesn't think that's true. But Stephen King says that he predicts Trump supporters will deny voting for him in the coming decades. And within the story, it was a Fox Media story, he said that just like back in 1951, Bobby Thompson for the New York Giants hit what they called the home run, the shot heard around the world, because it won the pennant. Back then, there was an American League and a National League, and that's it. There were no divisions. There were no playoffs. If you won the American League, you went to the World Series. If you won the National League, you went to the World Series. The only postseason play was the World Series. So much better than what we have now. But anyway, so Stephen King says there are tens of thousands of people who will say, I saw Bobby Thompson hit that home run, and there were only like 5,000 people in the stands. So he's saying that tens of thousands of people said that they were there, but there were only 5,000 people in the stands. Well, I did a little research, and I reposted his thing with a quote, and I said, first lie from Stephen King, saying that only 5,000 fans watched Bobby Thompson's shot heard around the world. Attendance that day was 34,000 people. So more than tens of thousands, right? 34,000 people. And I said, King is a liar. Sorry, I got some air going into my diaphragm, as my wife says. Okay. The other one that made me mad was a picture of Woodward and Bernstein, the real Woodward and Bernstein. I say that because not Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, the real Woodward and Bernstein. Boy, they really. I'm pretty sure that Dustin Hoffman played Bernstein, and Robert Redford played Woodward. And boy, Woodward should be really happy that somebody as good looking as Robert Redford played him, because he's ugly. So there's a picture of them in the Washington Post newsroom, whatever you call it. And some guy named Don Winslow, who's a big shot on X, 905,000 followers, author of 3 New York Times Critics' Choice Best Book of the Year. You know what that means? They were all libturd books. Find great books by following Winslow Book Club. So he writes over the weekend on X, captioning the picture of Woodward and Bernstein, saying, man, do we need these guys right now? Woodward and Bernstein. Wow, do we need these guys right now? So I redid it, reposted it with a quote, and I said, really? The 2 guys that said a story that never even happened, the Trump collusion hoax, was worse than Watergate? Frauds. Because that's when people just have so much Trump derangement syndrome, all the way up to the top of the media chain in Woodward and Bernstein. Both of them have been on news. All right, I don't want to call them news, like MSNBC or CNN, one of those, talking about the Trump collusion story. It turned out to be a complete hoax. Now, I say this for a reason, not just because they hate Trump and I like Trump. That's not the reason. The reason is research. For them to go on TV shows as experts and say this Russian collusion story is worse than Watergate, worse than the story that he supposedly researched along with his buddy, whichever one it was, whether it was Woodward or Bernstein. How much research did they do to make those comments on CNN and MSNBC? None. Zero. They just went on a network that they know is friendly to them because everybody hates Trump. And they get to the point where they talk about the Trump collusion. Absolutely. This story is just worse than Watergate. And, we know now that Watergate was not everything that these 2 guys said it was. But they brought down a president. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. They brought down a Republican president. So they were the stars, because back then the Washington Post, what do you think? They just became this liberal paper, this liberal outlet. They were always like that. And there was always a prize at the end if you got the president. And they got the president. They got Nixon. They got Nixon to resign. And now there's some kind of experts on cover-ups, because that was the thing with Watergate. It wasn't just the crime. It was the cover-up. That was the story. So, but my ex, I don't have a whole bunch of followers, so nobody's going to see it. But I think it's something that people need to know. And when people claim to be an expert and then are so disproved, I bring up Bill Maher, too. This has nothing to do with Trump. Oh, yes, it does. When he was interviewing Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly, because everybody's calling Trump the election denier, right? So Megyn Kelly says to Bill Maher, well, what about Hillary? She's the OG election denier. And he's going, no, she's not. She called him an illegitimate president. He said, she never said that. And then Megyn Kelly, when she's talking about it, plays the actual cut of Hillary saying he is not the president of the United States. And my point about it is that he did no research, or he had his team of 12-year-olds do the research for him. And, they don't want to upset Bill Maher. They don't want to upset the liberal audience that Bill Maher's show has. And they say, oh, no, Mr. Maher, she never said he was an illegitimate president. I can't seem to find anything on it. And Bill Maher had to say to Megyn Kelly, well, I didn't know that. Then don't go on TV and say that you do know about things, okay? Woodward and Bernstein, don't say that the Russian collusion hoax, I mean, they didn't know it was a hoax at the time, but it turned out to be a hoax. Don't say that it was worse than Watergate when you've done absolutely zero research to make a comment like that. I don't like either one of those guys. I'm telling you. I've seen All the President's Men. I get it. Big Hollywood thing. They had to embellish for Hollywood. It's worse than Watergate. That's why you can say anything now is worse than Watergate. And the left will go right along. Can you imagine having Woodward or Bernstein on your show if you're on MSNBC or CNN? Oh my God, Mr. Woodward, Mr. Bernstein, I'm so happy to have you on the show. What about this Russian collusion thing? And Carl Bernstein says it's worse than Watergate. I agree. Donald Trump should be put in jail. So anyway, Ed Stoit on both stories, okay? Everything Democrats say, the opposite is true. Please run it through that filter. When you hear anything from a Democrat, you will find out that anything Democrats say, the opposite is true, okay? All right, September 18th, my goodness, is creeping up on us in just a couple of weeks. Steve Forbes will be at the Lindenwood University, beautiful Scheidegger Center, and News Talk STL and the Hammond Center, Young Americans Foundation, West News Magazine, Mid Rivers News Magazine, all getting together to help bring this event to St. Charles. And it's free, absolutely free. September 18th, 7 p.m., part of the H.F. Langenberg Memorial Speaker Series at the beautiful J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. Get some tickets now. They're running out. I'm telling you. NewsTalkSTL.com. Get your tickets. You will need one to get in. And we will see you on the 18th at Lindenwood University. All right. So, Mark Quann, if you know much about rural Missouri, what he's coming on to talk about has nothing to do about rural Missouri. But if you know anything about, we got to ask him about his name, right? When we get him on, we'll talk about that. But his book is called, listen to this, Be Smart, Pay Zero Taxes, Use the Buy, Borrow, Die strategy to get rich and stay rich. Huh? I'm all about getting rich. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
The whole thing's got me thinking about how privileged I've been.
America's a wonderful country.
If I were a black man, I'd be furious. We're getting frustrated.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
There are certain issues that we need improvement.
They would rather have this country on its knees than be successful.
news, analysis, opinion.
We have common sense, and the Democrats have none.
1019 and 94.1.
And I appreciate the discussion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We, the people, will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
1019 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
The internet is going nuts over the Phillies Karen who hijacked a home run ball from a kid. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
You think your 401k is safe, growing, reliable. But here's the truth. The 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk onto you, leaving your retirement exposed to Wall Street crashes, inflation, and chaos. Noble Gold helps Americans roll over part of their 401k into real physical gold. Tax advantage, penalty-free, and shockproof. Get your free wealth protection kit now at noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Supposed to be a perfect birthday moment. A Phillies dad rushes to grab Harrison Bader's home run ball, hands it to his son Lincoln. It should have been a sweet and endearing core memory moment. But no, out of nowhere, a woman storms in claiming the ball was hers. Despite the kid holding it, she demands it back, and the dad gave it to her, likely to avoid her having a total meltdown. Now, the internet dubbed her Phillies Karen, and fans were not having it. It's always so bizarre to me when adults act like that, and it happens far too often at sporting events. I don't know her political affiliation, but she sure looked like an Elizabeth Warren doppelganger to me. Thankfully, the Marlins and Bader himself saved the day, delivering signed gear, swag bags, and a sweet birthday memory Lincoln won't forget. Moral of the story, don't be a ball hog and let kids have their moment. Also, the internet is forever. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home. Shiva in the dark. Dire Straits. All right, good morning. I'm Vic Porcelli. Ashland filling in for Ken today, doing a great job. Our guest right now is Mark Quann. Be smart, pay zero taxes, use the buy, borrow, die strategy to get rich and stay rich. Before we get into all that, Mark, I have to ask you, because when I first saw your name, are you from Missouri or have you been to Missouri a lot at all?
I've never been. I don't think I've ever been to Missouri before. I grew up in Canada and then spent about 23 years in California, and then now I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, because there's a rural Missouri town called Marquand, and the first time I saw your name, I was like, "Oh my God, that's weird." It's pretty close, right?
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. I think there's a rapper out there now named Mark Quann, so something's going on here.
He stole that from you for sure, but you stole your name
definitely.
from me. So yeah, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's talk about. I mean, that's such a provocative title, right? Use the buy, borrow, die strategy to get rich and stay rich. What does that mean?
Yeah, it just basically means that the very wealthiest people in the country are doing the opposite of what we're being told to do. The banksters, as I call them, are using a strategy where they buy assets, they never sell them. They simply take low interest loans from those assets to buy other assets, and they never actually pay any taxes because the loans aren't taxable. They don't require any work. If you never sell your assets, you never pay taxes. And then when they die, they get a stepped up basis, meaning all their assets pass to their heirs. And you can pass up to $30 million to your family completely tax free. So the system says, hey, go to school, work hard, pay your taxes, save money, get good credit, put your money in a 401k. That's actually the opposite of what the wealthy people are doing in this country.
Sons of bitches. What are they doing?
They're just buying assets. They'll buy stocks and ETFs. They never sell them. They take low interest loans secured by those assets to buy more assets. So personally, I wrote the book on this just because it was actually Newsmax that reached out to me early last year and asked me if I could write a book, because I proved that ordinary Americans can do this strategy. the book itself is actually written and dedicated to ordinary Americans. So yeah, we actually show people how to start the process with $100 in a brokerage account, and then we show them how to start building the same strategy. Just buy stocks, never sell them, take low interest loans. You could donate to your church with that. That's a double tax deduction. You could fund your business, and you're literally circumventing the entire U.S. tax system, all totally approved by the Internal Revenue Service.
Wow. I'm sure people want to know about that for sure. Okay. So let's talk about the Census Bureau. Okay. You know, because here's what I've been thinking a lot lately, with the left wanting as many illegal aliens to be counted in the census as possible, and really only citizens should be counted. So my question is, how long have illegals been included in the census data?
You know what? I don't actually spend too much time on that. Like, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that, I mean, I was in California, and, you know, they obviously wanted people to vote in elections with no ID. I mean, so there was definitely no legitimate reason for wanting people to vote in elections, and actually say, even if you wanted to show your ID, they said, no, we don't want to see your ID, just vote really quick. So people don't do that. They want to sort of fair numbers. I mean, gerrymandering has been around a long time. The Democrats were great at it. They're not happy with Republicans when they do that. But yeah, I mean, and that's something that was corrected. I think, honestly, if unless Trump got elected this time, I think we're in a lot of trouble, because they can just, you know, permanent party, permanent one party, you know, Democratic rule is what I think we're looking at in the future. But so yeah, very happy that Trump's in office, and, you know, and obviously there's a lot of benefits to all Americans with the big beautiful bill and these types of things. So, I mean, yeah, we just need to stay on the course that we're on, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, we're talking to Mark J. Quann, article, the book Be Smart, Pay Zero Taxes. They were so afraid of President Trump winning this election, right? You call it Trump 2.0, and that's great, because he is the everyman, like most Americans. The elite Democrat Party. By the way, I have this theory. I could be completely wrong, but you remember when the Democrats used to be the blue-collar worker party and the Republicans were the rich elites? That whole thing is flipped, first of all. Am I right there?
100%. They don't know what to do with Trump, because he's just sitting there representing middle America. I mean, when the unions and you know, things like that, Teamsters start saying, hey, Trump's a good guy, yeah, you know, he's representing middle America. But you know, Trump 1.0, I remember it like it was yesterday. Right. Everyone was doing better. Middle America was doing better. We were doing incredible things. And Trump 1.0, he didn't really know how to have his footing. I don't think he was quite sure he was going to get elected. You know, and he was kind of thrown in there. I don't think he quite knew. And then he was surrounded by people he couldn't trust. So this time we have a very good situation for middle America. But I will say this, that unless middle America, unless everybody listening to this really educates themselves on better strategies, it doesn't matter what Trump does, you're just not going to do that well. If you're going to keep funding your 401k and deferring all your taxes and just taking advice that's spoon-fed to you from Wall Street, because realize all the financial education, and I put that in quotes, that comes to universities, colleges, universities, even to the financial advisors and CPAs themselves, it's all from a government private company, the regulatory authority. It's a private company. It's actually funded by the banks. It's a self-regulatory authority. So people think, oh, I'm getting all this financial advice from my CPA and financial advisor. I went to a school. They went to college and university. No, there's one source, and it's actually funded by the banks. And what people perceive as financial education is just there to, you know, grow the size of big government and Wall Street.
Well, I'll tell you something that I'm sure you already know, and I'm sure that you don't care, but the left and the elite, they hate you, right? The elite don't want the commoners to get rich. That's for us, not you little peasants, right? They hate you.
Well, I've kind of been like this my whole entire life. I hated school. Something wrong was wrong with school. I hated school. I wouldn't go to school. I became a financial advisor for 15 years. And I was like, there's something wrong with this. Like, there's something really wrong with this, because the financial advisors don't know how to get financially independent. They got to charge fees to their clients, which funnel all the money to Wall Street. And then the CPAs were going to die at their desk. I'm like, God, there's something seriously wrong with here. So, but I ended up writing, this is my fourth book. I used to mix concrete growing up, factory jobs, all those middle blue collar jobs. And my family has like 3 generations of poverty on both sides. So I was like, I'm so tired of being poor when I was a kid. So I was like, I got to figure out how to make money. So yeah. And then this book was kind of been a game changer because we've proven in the past, 4 years, we taught it over to the strategy over 500 people. And we start people with $100. So, now we're kind of growing as a company and people really need to reset what they consider financial literacy because surprise, the system's not set up to help you win. It's make sure that you keep on that treadmill running forever, paying your taxes, fund your 401k, blah, blah, blah. That's all just doesn't work. You're never going to win with a 401k.
All right, Mark. So people are listening right now. I'm sure there's somebody saying, come on, $100. What, Mark J. Quann, what are you talking about? Can you tell a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, basically there's, even the company that we use is a company called M1 Finance. They're you can put $100. You could pick 6 different ETFs. Again, you have to kind of educate yourself a little bit on this, but you could have an ETF that buys Bitcoin and gold, and then one that buys the stock market and one that produces income. And you could put your $100 in there. And if it's 5 different funds, $20 will go to each one of them. And if you just keep funding it and never sell it, you'll never pay taxes on the gains. And then there's a borrow button. Once you have over $2,000, you can press the borrow button. It'll give you a low interest, what's called margin loan. You can send that to your bank account. And you essentially created money. That's you created money by pressing buttons. See, inflation is the creation of money, which steals your wealth. The rich use inflation or debt to build their wealth. That's really the key, right? We've all been told to fund a 401k and get out of debt. You don't want bad debt. Bad debt is credit cards and all those things that people spend their money on. The rich just use debt to make money because essentially it's money that's created without work or taxes. People think I'm going into debt. Well, sort of, you are, but you're also creating money as long as you're using that money for investment purposes. So we use stocks, ETFs, life insurance, real estate, cryptocurrency, and precious metals. And we just simply buy it, never sell it. We borrow from one asset to fund the other. We don't have to work for that money. And then it continues to grow with no taxes. And I can die with $30 million completely tax-free and pass that to my heirs.
Uh-huh. So
yeah, and you can start with $100
before you hit $2,000. You're funding it in increments of $100.
You can do $50 a week, or $25 a week, or you can do whatever you want. Yeah, literally. Yeah, you could have it. It breaks it down, and here's the cool part: the computer only buys the thing that's going down. It's fully automated. So if you have 5 stocks, let's say you have Amazon, Nvidia, whatever, Google, Costco, and whatever. The computer will only buy the one that's going down. So if you put $50 in, it's not going to buy the one that's been going up. It'll buy the one that's been going down. And the computer fully manages the portfolio. And you're not going to need a financial advisor anymore. And the financial advisor, by the way, the financial advisor can't teach this. It's called selling away. So if a financial advisor learned this strategy and started teaching it to their clients, they're fired immediately for what's called selling away. And they're actually blacklisted from the financial industry for the rest of their life.
So it's kind of
like
they
ever taught this to their clients.
Everybody's selling, then buy, right? Except the computer does it on its own.
You just buy forever. You just keep buying, and you buy forever. You never stop buying. You never sell. You just accumulate for the rest of your life. And if you never need cash, you can press the borrow button, take a low interest loan. I currently borrow at 5.4%, and I can send that money to my bank account. I didn't have to work for that money. It's never taxed. It never will be taxed. And then when you die, there's a step up in basis. So all your assets are much larger because you didn't have to work for them. And then you die, and there's a step up basis. It pays off whatever debt you owe. All the remaining money goes to your family completely tax-free.
Unbelievable. All right.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff.
Couple of quick things, Mark, and then we'll let you go. And none of them have anything to do with anything you were talking about. Just my little pea brain thinking about things.
Yes.
So
yes.
Native Americans, right? We talk about Native Americans. We can't call them Indians. You got to call them Native Americans. But if there were these people in America at that time, there had to be those people in Canada at that time. Do you call them Native Canadians up there?
I don't actually know. I literally spent the last 23 years in California, and now I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. I haven't been back into Canada for at least living there for a long time. I think they call them Native Americans, but I could be wrong on that one.
That's wrong, though. That's not accurate, right? Native Canadians. That's
Native Canadians. So I don't actually can't. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, don't worry about it. Now, finally, I started out by saying there's a town, a Missouri town called Marquand with a D, and your name is Mark Quann. And just a little history about Mark Quann. Some of, believe it or not, Ringo Starr's relatives and ancestors lived in Marquand. Believe that?
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I used to get the whole Jerry Maguire thing, the Quann, right? It's the Quann, Jerry Maguire.
Yep.
Anyways, so good stuff.
All right. Once again, the book is called Be Smart, Pay Zero Taxes, Use the Buy, Borrow, Die Strategy to Get Rich and Stay Rich. That's Mark J. Quann. Mark, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you very much.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. All right. Ashlyn, can you put my thing up here? There we go. So we got some sad news overnight. Rick Davies, one of the founding members of Supertramp, has passed away. He was, are you good at math, Ashlyn? Yes or no? He was born in 1944. So that makes him 79, I guess, 79? Oh, 81. Well, I'm the worst. 81, sorry. Never mind. You're listening to Bloody Well Right by Supertramp. And, Supertramp, not my ultimate bag. Like matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. Before we listen to MP3s and stuff, we listen to cassettes or tape in what they called a Walkman. Did you ever hear of a Walkman, Ashley? It was the same thing you put on the headphones. And a friend of mine was walking through Brookdale Park, and he goes, "You got to listen to this. This is a Walkman. It's the best thing you'll ever hear in your life." So I put the headphones on, and Supertramp's Breakfast in America was on, and I was like, I never heard music go right into my head like that. I only listened to it on the radio through speakers, and I was like, oh my God, I need one of these. Why did I bring that up? Oh, because it was Supertramp. So Rick Davies, dead at 81, and we're losing him left and right. It's a Monday morning. Hour 3 of our 3-hour tour yet to come. Ashlyn doing a great job filling in for Kenny today. And Jane Puszkar, our old friend from Francis Howell School District, is going to come in and talk a little bit. Age-inappropriate books like we've talked about for so many years. And they're still doing it, Superintendent thing, which she says she gagged about it. Well, she was gagged, so she can't talk about it. All coming up on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Hey, folks, the Clayton Sleep Institute and my friend Dr. Ojal back supporting free common sense conservative radio. ClaytonSleep.com. treating the full range of adult and pediatric sleep disorders from sleep apnea to insomnia, restless leg syndrome, periodic limb movement, and narcolepsy. What an awesome place. New comfy setting for the sleep lab. ClaytonSleep.com, 314-645-5855. Better sleep, better life.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The Trump administration Religious Liberty Commission is holding its second hearing in Washington. Attorney General Pam Bondi says President Trump is an active advocate on behalf of religious liberty.
Our founders believed every individual has the right to worship freely without fear of their own government. No one knows this better than President Trump. Under his leadership, we have dropped FASAC cases against pro-life Christians.
President Trump, also speaking, affirms his strong support for issues protecting religious liberty.
Under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We are one nation under God, and we always will be.
Today's focus is religious liberty issues in public education. Commission members will hear testimony from Christian students and parents about unfair treatment. The hearing at the Museum of the Bible. President Trump denies he's going to wage war on Chicago.
An apocalyptic weekend social media post from the president generated controversy with its war imagery and suggestion that the newly renamed Department of War was taking aim at Chicago. The president said he just wants to make the city safer.
That's not war. That's common sense.
But Illinois Governor Pritzker criticized the meme and blasted the president's plans to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. South Korea has reached a deal with the U.S. for the release of South Korean workers detained in an immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia. South Korea planning to send a charter plane to bring those workers home. More than 300 South Koreans were among the 475 people that were detained last week. On Wall Street, the Dow is ahead 45 points. The NASDAQ Composite up 164. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, Mike Ferguson here, and for nearly 40 years, Nutrition Stop has been St. Peter's trusted source for natural living. They've got a great, knowledgeable staff offering more than just products. They provide guidance on your wellness journey with exceptional service, from 100% grass-fed meats like elk and bison and local produce to quality supplements and clean household products. 4101 Mexico Road in St. Peter's, just off the interstate at Cave Springs and Highway 70.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer. Let's party!
Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Looking for treasures from the past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6, at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
Tony Colombo here for my dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, the one-stop shop for all your family's dental needs. And Dr. Boscia is always expanding his services, now including the incredible all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. No more suffering with damaged or missing teeth or poor fitting dentures. You can see some amazing smile makeovers, learn more about the all-on-4 procedure, and see everything Dr. Boscia can do right now at newcreationdentalcare.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 3. Holy cow, it's a loaded cannon right now. And that loaded cannon is Jane Puszkar, and she'll be with us in just a second. Douglas Blair, excuse me, from the Public Interest Legal Foundation. At 11:25, and we'll get into the chat box at 11:41. Let's welcome back our dear friend, Jane Puszkar from the Francis Howell School Board. How are you?
I'm fine, and thank you so much for having me on, Vic. I truly appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Jane. And, I'm pretty sure that you were with us before you even got elected to the school board.
I
right?
was.
So we've been friends before the experience
That's
ever started.
correct.
So now that you have done it, would you do it again? If you were never a school board, on the school board, would you run again?
I would definitely do it all over again. It has been one of the most challenging and one of those most rewarding experiences of my life.
Because they just like to drag you through the mud.
Oh, they certainly do.
Post-dispatch and all those.
Yeah.
Make me
Everybody
sick.
except you, Vic.
No, I appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about this lawsuit that was finally dismissed. What in the heck is that all about? I can't believe Jane Puszkar, the nice woman, would be sued for something.
Well, about 15 months ago, I was served papers for defamation of character for a speech that I gave at the St. Charles City County Library. A bunch of us parents were upset because there was a young man dressed in women's clothing and wearing earrings, and I believe at the time he had a beard. I don't know, but it was definitely a male. And he was working in the kids section. So a bunch of us got upset and told the library, you should institute some dress codes, things like that.
What was he wearing?
A dress, fishnet stockings, lipstick.
So why? I don't understand. Why would you get sued?
Because I called him I said he was a transvestite.
That's what he is.
Well,
there's nothing defamatory about that, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what we thought. But 15 months ago, I got served with papers. And finally, after those 15 months, he sued not just me. There were seven of us, I think, that he sued. But the thing is, 15 months later, after the judge retired, then they dismissed it against everybody. Okay. The entire suit was dismissed.
So what took so long? Why did this one judge do it right away?
I'm not sure.
It's okay. It's done.
Not sure.
So the word transvestite, before all this stuff happened, Jane, and I can't believe that any of it has happened, but before all this transgender crap started, if a man dressed like a woman, he was called a transvestite. And it was not defamatory. Excuse me, a little air into my diaphragm there. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? Tim
Yes.
Curry dressed in a teddy and garter. Is that what you call him? Garter? What's that guy?
Yeah.
And he sings a song, I'm just a sweet transvestite. And we all sang along.
But you see, the all-inclusive side has decided that anything that pretty much leans on the truth. Is can't has to be
It's
upsetting.
the truth that's
It's
the problem.
Truth. Yeah. So
Got
look up
it.
that word in the dictionary. You'll see exactly what it says. But just to kind of go back to the lawsuit, I do want to thank my attorneys, my pro bono attorneys, Thomas More Society, Advocates for Faith and Freedom, and Law Matters LLC.
Pro bono, that's great.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was like a gift from heaven. It was like just took a real thing off my shoulders. But anyway,
nobody wants to have a lawsuit on them. Well, I'm glad you're crime free now.
Thank you. Oh, they sure like to convict you in the court of opinion. You know, that inclusive side.
We've watched them do it to you.
Yeah. But when I posted this on my Facebook page, that it was dismissed. Not a word.
Really?
Yeah.
But
Except from the good guys.
Before that, though, they were just riding you, right? Facebook people.
Oh yeah.
Idiots. They're all idiots. All right. So you brought a book in with you, I see. Jane, can you explain the book and why you have that here?
This book is in one of our elementary schools, and it's called "It Feels Good to Be Yourself." Okay. This is in elementary school. I'll say it one more time. This is in our elementary school.
No more than 5th grade.
That's correct. And one of the pages, it's a gender discussion. It goes into non-binary. It goes into transsexual. It goes into asexual. It goes in. But I just picked out one of the pages that I thought I'd read that I think people will understand. One of the reasons why we have so much transgenderism that we're dealing with right now.
Hold on before you get to it. You know where the dump button is? Because Jane, she's a loaded cannon.
I'll be good. I'll be good.
Go ahead, Jane.
When a baby boy looks like when they're born, they can be a boy. That can be a clue to what the baby's gender will be, but not always.
Huh.
So when the doctor says it's a boy, he could be wrong.
You know what, Jane?
Or the nurse says. Sorry, nurses.
For 250 years, we easily figured out who was a boy and who was a girl.
All of nature.
And I can't believe we've let it get this far. How did we let it get this far?
I don't know. I've always said, when I was in the delivery room as a nurse, I'd see the doctor would say, "Oh, look, it's a boy. Oh, look, it's a girl." Right. Not once did they say, "Oh, look, it's a non-binary."
Right. They don't have cigars that say, "Ooh, it's non-binary. It's a boy, it's a girl," right?
Right.
No cigar says, "Oh, look, it's non-binary."
Oh, we don't do cigars now. We do gum cigars. Yeah. Because smoking's bad.
Oh, of course. Right. So now is there anything else you want to read from it, or are we done?
No, that was just it. Just a general discussion. I mean, I could read the whole book to you and you probably get you really enraged, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, we don't have time for that or the license. So is this book in the Francis Howell School District libraries?
Elementary school libraries.
Schools. All of them.
Oh, and then we have other, parents have gotten upset. Because they found things in the library. So I have a list of 44 books that have been brought to me that are upsetting. And one young lady found 12 books that dealt with LGBTQ in the middle schools. And so as of Friday, I believe she challenged 6 of those books.
How did that go?
Well, it's a process. Yeah, okay. So it just got started. But yeah, so but some of the stuff, they stood in front of us at the board meeting and said, there is no pornography in our school district. Well, by the definition of what the state laid out as pornography, that could be correct because these books don't have pictures and that can make all the difference. However, they are, I don't use the word pornography, I use the word age inappropriate, and these books are age inappropriate. I read some of it to my husband. And he looked at me and he goes, "That's demonic."
Right.
I said, "Yeah."
I mean, erotic literature, there's no difference except you're reading it as opposed to seeing it.
And overwhelming research shows that should you be exposed to that type of material before you are mature enough to understand it and to cope with it, leads to aberrant sexual behavior later on in life. All kinds of stuff, pornography, addiction, whatever.
So here's the thing. We were talking about this before we went on the air. I'm sorry. First, I have to comment on that lady saying we don't have pornography in our school. You have to run that through the EdStoit filter. Everything Democrats say the opposite is true. Sure. And then you'll find out that, yes, there is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's that. Now, also, they accuse us, when I say us, the conservatives, people like you and me, of banning books. They're banning books.
My response: taking pornography out of schools is not book banning.
But they don't believe that. They don't believe that, and they'll get the mainstream media to back them up.
You know what they say? Let them read. I'm like, let them read something worthwhile, not something without any educational suitability.
Yep. There is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I bring it up all the time
Yes,
with
you
you
do.
by Mark Twain.
Yes.
And that is not in a lot of libraries because there is a term now, the N word, that we don't use anymore. But one of the characters' names was that.
Yes.
N word Jim, right?
Right.
And they take that out. Why isn't that book banning?
Well, because that one doesn't fit into their narrative.
No. Sorry, we don't
I
get.
know.
We're not on the defensive anymore.
Nobody said it had to make any sense.
We are on the offensive now. We are on the offensive side. Now that President Trump has changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War, that is the perfect example that all conservatives should use every day. Be on the offensive. Don't let them take that book out of the library, or they're banning books.
I am seeing a lot of parents get more involved and more upset the more they get into it. And that's what it's going to take to get this stuff out of our libraries. And that's what it's going to take to get us a bathroom policy. And that's what it's going to take to get us, to stop all this indoctrination.
There was another book that I thought of after I think you and I talked about this. The book is called Little Black Sambo. And I was so young.
Can you even say that?
I did.
No.
And the punchline will tell you why I can. So the story is there's a lie involved, I think, and this boy named Little Black Sambo and some cream. And he ran around in circles and made the cream turn into butter. And that saved him from the lion or something like that. And we can't have a book called Little Black Sambo in the library. But you want to know the truth? Little Black Sambo, that character, is not black. He's from India.
Yeah, that's what makes all the sense in the world. I know.
So but you see how they take things?
Yes.
Little black. Oh my God! Take that book out of the library.
Yeah. You are. Oh my God! She called him a transvestite.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just
I mean, it's
crazy.
the same. The faux outrage is just absolutely ridiculous. One of the patrons told me it was time for me to either put up or shut up. So okay, here you go.
Put up what?
Put up because I've complained about the books in the library for a long time.
So what do you have to put up?
Oh, I have to put up proof. I got a proof. So I got proof, pal.
You read us the proof. You read us the proof.
Well,
right
that's
there.
just one book. I got 43 more.
43 different titles.
Yes, totally different titles.
All have sexual nature in them.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know what? I got to tell you something, Jane. I am so glad that my kids are past this.
Me too.
This phase in their life.
Me too.
Because my wife would go to school board meetings and get arrested once a week, or however many times they meet.
Yeah.
Because she just doesn't put up with it.
No, I know they don't.
They wanted to. We lived like 2 blocks from all the schools, from Wren Hollow, from South Parkway, Southwest Middle. I don't even remember. My God, I'm sorry. And Parkway South. And at Parkway South, they had too many kids. So they were going to talk about maybe resending kids, redistricting students to other schools. Now, we bought that house because of its location near these other schools. And so she went to the school board meeting and she gave them hell. And because she's pretty and she's smart, they put her on the news, And, it's like if you fight long enough, I think we can win, is my point.
I think so too. It takes a lot of determination and time and commitment. And I think that the parents, a lot of them that I know now have seen the light. It used to be that they, was just trusted whatever the school did. They thought they had the kids' best interest at heart. And when they found out that they didn't, then they got a little bit more active. So that's all good. I will remain committed to this, to removing these books until my last day. And probably even afterwards. I feel so strongly about this, Vic. This is harming children in their later years. Research shows it, proves it.
What's their answer to that? That in later years there's
no response. No response. If they don't have a comeback, they don't come back.
Right.
Yeah, but it just gets so frustrating.
So where are you in your term right now? Are you?
Well, my sentence is up in April.
You have to get a parole officer. Or what? Are you running again? Or are you going to?
I don't. At this point, probably not. There's some other good people that I'm hoping we can talk into running. We shall see. I have some other plans to do some other things. I'm not going away.
Oh, okay.
I'm just changing suit clothes.
You going to run for president of the United States?
Yeah, right.
I'd vote for you.
No, thanks.
I'll give my vote. If you do win, I have to be your press secretary, though.
Oh, I would love that.
Is that okay?
That would be perfect.
Any questions? Yeah, no, stupid.
No.
Get out. Get out. Jane, it's not just Francis Howell. I mean, let's
everywhere.
Call it what it is.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have friends in other districts and we get together, talk. I mean, I just saw some of them, like in the recent weekends. And we talk about the things that are going on, and it's pervasive. All of it is the same everywhere. It's just who you got, what battle you want to pick.
Are the parents not being loud enough? I mean, what's the problem?
Well,
or do the parents not care, Jane?
No, the parents care. The parents do care. Part of it is that the conservative parents are a little nicer. They're a little bit more mannerly. And the other side, they claim that they're in the majority. And I got an email stating this. They're in the majority because they make the most noise. And we should listen to them because they make the most noise. Well, that's not the way it works. Everybody gets one vote at the ballot box. At least that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows, Joe?
I agree. But we have to be loud too, I guess is my point.
Well, we do. And trust me, I am. And
I have no doubt, Jane. I have no doubt in your beliefs and your talents. Don't you worry
I don't know about
that.
talents, but I have a big mouth and I use it for good, I believe, for good.
To be on the offensive.
Yes, I do. I don't shy away from too much. I will admit I've had my days when I thought, why did you get involved in this? I mean, everybody has those days where you're not sure if it makes sense for you or your family to get this committed and to be this targeted. But at the end of the day, I really do believe that I'm doing the right, best things for kids.
Yeah, I think so too. So this superintendent thing, we only have a minute left. Can we talk about him in a minute?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, as you know, we had hired a superintendent who was supposed to start on July 1st, but instead went on administrative leave until the end of July. We accepted his resignation and gave him a settlement, and off he went to another school district.
He's got a good grift going on, it looks like to me.
I can't.
Okay,
I can't say the word grift. It was a separation agreement.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to get you in trouble, so I want to stop about that.
That's okay. I'll do it all by myself.
Jane Puszkar, Francis Howell School District. Thank you so much, and thanks for being a great friend to us.
No, thank you for letting me come on and being my great friend and giving me this opportunity to make my voice heard.
Perfect. All right. Let's get out of here. We have to find out what's going on inside the Beltway. Douglas Blair from the Public Interest Legal Foundation. He's the Director of Communications there. He's next. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
News Talk STL, always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peter's did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
I want to know what's happening here.
That's how I stay informed.
I put America first.
All the local content. 101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
I love these people.
News Talk STL.
All right, welcome home to 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. Ashlyn over there doing a fantastic job filling in for Ken Williams. You know what? I don't think we need Ken anymore. I think we could Ken say, nah, Ken, we're good. Okay, let's go. East Coast Report. Doug Blair. Let's go. Do it.
This just in. For the latest news from the DC swamp and beyond, this is the Vic Porcelli Show East Coast Report with Douglas Blair on News Talk STL.
Good morning, Doug Blair. How are you?
I'm doing good. When I picked up the phone and I heard a female voice, I was like, Ken, I'm really proud of you for really becoming who you were always meant to be.
Trust me, I will save this tape and play it for him next Monday. We can hear you say that. Ashlyn's doing a great job. Ken is enjoying his family, and I hate him because he took a vacation. He sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Good for him.
All right, so I want to talk about some things, as they say, inside the Beltway, right? And I know this isn't as important as other things that are going on, Doug, but what's the skinny on the mall, the brawl at the mall, the UFC fight?
Yeah, this is the thing that I think is kind of interesting about this, is that everybody's pretending like this is so unprecedented, that this is disrespectful of the use of the space. But need I remind the crowd here that our former president, our former corpse in chief, posted a bunch of degenerates for Transgender Day of Visibility or LGBT, whatever, one of these like 50 billion things now they have for gay people. And they had a bunch of like people taking their clothes off on the front lawn. So at least this is like athletics. This is sport. This is something that encourages people to be strong and powerful and fit, as opposed to just, hey, you have sex with men and we're just going to put you out there because that's what we do now. So I'm not as pissed off as a lot of people are. I know some people think it's disrespectful. I'm very ambivalent on it.
It's a party, man. It's the 250th anniversary. I'm totally okay with it. I mean, at least we have a president that likes to have some fun and goes out to events like the U.S. Open and the UFC fights. I think it's great.
Well, look, and I think that this is also part of the president's campaign to make America healthy again. I mean, one of the things that everybody says, even, experts on the left, is that getting out and doing exercise is good for you. And I think that illustrating, a sport that you can do that encourages you to work out, to go to the gym, to get stronger. I think that this is wonderful. And I think it's one of those sort of underreported parts of the administration. Everybody's always talking about the immigration. Everybody's always talking about crime, which is, of course, essential and very, very important. But I do think that this push to basically say you need to get out and you need to be healthy is really essential. It's also, again, much more effective than the Obama sort of scolding, eat your vegetables. This is get strong, get powerful. We're going to beat each other up, and it's awesome,
They finally found something that they can bitch about with RFK Jr., because nobody minded about taking the dyes out, right? The Fruit Loops are going to look a lot less bright and fruity colored now, but they're going to be better for you. That was great. And now they finally found something they can get on RFK Jr. about, and that's the vaccines. They call them anti-science, even though they're the party that says men can get pregnant.
Right. And I mean, here's the other thing, too, is that the way that RFK and, of course, Ron DeSantis down in Florida are translating this quote unquote anti-vax policy is that you get the choice. I mean, one of the things that I think is incredibly frustrating is that any opposition to the myriad vaccines that kids are getting now or the COVID vaccine was, oh, you're anti-science. No, I'm anti-forced inoculation. If you're going to tell me in order to go out into society, I have to inject myself with a completely untested material, I'm going to tell you to go F yourself, right? Like this is the most important thing, is that if you have bodily autonomy, that you have the capacity to, do with your body what you want, if you're able to, keep yourself healthy, that should be celebrated. That should be celebrated by both left and right. I mean, for the longest time, weren't we told it's my body, my choice by these leftists about abortion? Now, all of a sudden, Ron DeSantis saying, you do not have to inject your child with a vaccine if you do not want to. You still have the option, of course, but you don't have to. All of a sudden, this is, anti-science and illiberal and terrible. And it's the same with RFK. These are common sense policies that allow people to make informed decisions about their own health. And this should be celebrated by everybody.
Absolutely right. And, my body thing only counts when they want it to count. And the thing is the word mandate, Doug, to me. And whether we're talking about vaccines or electric vehicles. If I want an electric vehicle, if I want a Tesla, I'll buy one. If I don't, I'm driving my combustible engine car because I have the freedom and the liberty to do that. Same thing with vaccines.
And I think that one of the things, too, that a lot of conservatives have started to realize, I'm starting to call this new policy, I don't give a word I can't say on the radio, conservatism, where it's this idea that we don't care anymore what the left is going to say. We don't care if the left is going to say, oh, the due process, oh, the legality, oh, the whatever, because they'll find 1,000,001 reasons why we can't do what we want to do, whether or not that's true or not. And I think that we're basically starting to say, look, we know exactly where this goes. If we get wrapped up in these arguments about legality or constitutionality or what of these things, even if they are up for debate, the second you take power again, you're just going to do it anyway. Right. So I think, for example, you mentioned electric cars. One of the things that I think conservatives very quickly realized is that the Obama government and the Biden government were both hell-bent on getting rid of gas-powered cars. They were doing everything in their power to make it impossible for gas-powered cars to be sold in this country. And so what we did is we recognized that this was happening, and we basically said, no, we're going to get rid of these policies, and we're also not going to mandate that people buy these cars. So you can buy a Tesla if you want. You can buy an electric vehicle, but you're not forced to do it. Right. And the left responds to this by saying, oh, you're a fascist, you're a tyrant, you're an authoritarian. And we used to basically, if this was like a Mitt Romney or a John McCain, we would have said, I don't want to get called the bad guy, so I'm going to basically do what you want. Donald Trump says, I don't give a word.
Got it.
So you can't just do that. You can't just basically kowtow to these people. They'll never be happy, so why bother?
And the thing is, I always wonder, Doug, if they don't know or if they make believe they don't know, but they really do know. Do they know that they need coal to run the electric charging stations?
No, but they know that. Of course they do. This is more just to basically make themselves feel better, right? Like the entire purpose of these mandates is not necessarily to make life better. It's just to control what you do, right? If you look into what the process is to make one of these lithium batteries, think about how much toxic runoff goes into the groundwater from these lithium mining operations. Think about how much energy it takes to charge these things. Think about how much time and effort it takes to retrofit all of these factories to produce electric car parts instead of, like, this is not a simple, oh, you just flick a switch and all of a sudden everything's green now. This takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a lot of, dirty energy that goes into these types of things. Now, the thing that I always find fascinating too is that none of these people talks about nuclear. Nuclear is in form of modern sort of green energy, the cleanest. If you look at how energy production goes in this country, the nuclear energy is the one that seems to be the best bang for your buck. But they're so anti-nuclear based off of, I think this information from the 70s, that you have this problem that nobody seems to want to go in that direction. So yeah, they know, they're well aware. They choose not to because it makes them feel better.
So they're also well aware then of what we learned in grade school or middle school at the latest, that trees give off oxygen and we give off CO2 that help the trees. And then they, in turn, it's like a circle that they knew was going to happen. What do we do when there's no CO2? The trees die, we die. I mean, that's their plan.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't credit the left with thinking particularly far ahead. But again, I also don't credit the left with thinking at all. This is why I'm going to change the topic a little bit here. But, if you release somebody from jail 14 times, and they end up killing somebody, the right is like, what did you think was going to happen? And the left goes, oh, well, he was just a poor victim of circumstance. That's sort of the philosophy that I see coming out of the left, that the right just kind of is forced to deal with and suffer through.
All right. If you're referring to the Ukrainian woman on the Charlotte subway, Doug, I'd like to talk about that for a sec, because all the people who, the people who had the little Ukrainian flag in their Twitter profile, they're silent right now. Why is that? Because the guy that killed her is black.
Right. It's the guy that killed her was black, but also it's that the guy who killed her had been released from jail 14 times.
Right. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's the trifecta. It's an inconvenient racial makeup of the crime, right? Black on white crime. They try to pretend that doesn't exist. It's the fact that it was a weak on crime prosecutor. The fact that this person was allowed out of jail, not once, not twice, not 14 times for violent crimes. He was let out of jail. And then it's also part of this entire idea that, there should be clean public transportation. It should be the fact that, you shouldn't have to feel at the risk for your life when you get on. And then also, I think you're right. It is embarrassing for them because it wasn't just any random white woman. It was Ukrainian refugee. And of course, the people with the Ukrainian flags in their bios on Twitter don't want to look like they ignored a Ukrainian who was a victim of terrible circumstances. It is an utter failure by Democratic leadership to do anything to prevent this from happening. And of course, you'll never see the New York Times talk about it. You'll never see CNN talk about it. You'll never see MSNBC talk about it. I was looking, I literally did this. I saw this on Twitter. I saw that everybody was reporting that no mainstream outlets were talking about this. I said, that cannot be right. There is zero chance that not a single one of these outlets is doing it. I looked it up. Not a single one did. Yeah. I was so sickened.
So Doug, when does a judge or a series of judges who let this guy out 14 times, when do they become accountable or fired for lack of good judgment when now he's gone and killed a poor woman from Ukraine in her seat on the train?
It's a great question. I saw that. I think it was Elon Musk that was tweeting about this, where he basically said, if you're allowed to sue, if you're allowed to sue like a gun person for not a gun person, a gun manufacturer for doing that, which a lot of leftists seem to think you should be able to do, or you can sue a bartender for serving one too many drinks to somebody who then gets in a car crash and kills somebody because he's drunk.
Right.
It does beg the question, why can't you do that for a judge who is willingly putting the society and their community at risk by releasing highly dangerous individuals out onto the street? And I think that's a great question. I think that one of the things is, are these judges elected by the people? Are they selected by the magistrates? Are they selected by members of the city council? I think it sort of varies on a case-by-case basis, but there does need to be pressure from Republicans and the right. I think that Donald Trump has a really good opportunity to do this right now, to basically say, your elected officials are failing you. Your elected officials have decided it is more important to be politically correct and say that Black people can't commit crime and witness somebody get out of jail 14 times. Because again, I mean, think about it this way. What if he goes to jail for this and he gets released early once the story kind of blows over, once the next shiny object enters the news cycle, and then he does it again? I mean, like, clearly he's a mentally unwell individual. Like, he might very well do this again. And if the DA doesn't seem to think that this is a problem, what do you do?
Doug, you nailed it, because there's no difference to me between the judge and the bartender. No difference.
Yeah. I think it's a perfectly apt comparison, and there do need to be consequences. Now, again, I am not a lawyer. I am not somebody that has a deep understanding of the intricacies of the judicial system when it comes to like these level prosecutors and judges. But I cannot imagine being somebody who's sitting in North Carolina right now, looking at this story and saying everything is fine, let's just move on. There's that joke that like leftists seem to think, oh, tiny little conservatives scared of going on the bus. I'm a 6'1" man. I'm terrified of going on the bus. This is what's going to happen.
I'll drive. Thanks. I'm good. Got my car. I'm good. My combustible engine car, by the way. All right. Doug Blair, thank you so much, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you next week.
All right. From the Public Interest Legal Foundation. All right. Let's go to break. Come back. Talk to talk to you guys in the chat box. See what you guys are up to. And then I saw a headline that said conservatives are saying to President Trump, we need more babies. So we're going to do what we can to help that out. Okay. And we'll do that next. on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Company.
On Monday, we'll get the latest from the special session in Jeff City. Plus, we'll talk to Virginia Crudo, Mike McCleary, and get a market check from Paul Kurtman.
Live and local weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Hi, Brad. Hi there, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm sorry, it's now what do they call it? I don't know what they call it. I can't help it. I got to say hi, Brad. Okay, so listen, J.D. Vance has told the president, and a lot of conservatives actually, has told the president that we need more babies. So, Ashlyn, let's see what we can do to make more babies.
I've heard people say, too much of anything is not good for you, baby.
I got you.
But I don't know about that.
Uh-oh.
As many times as we've loved and
made love,
we've shared love and
made love. Sexiest guy ever? Sexiest voice ever? Right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This is the baby maker right here. Barry White, can't get enough of your love. And just a little bit of this. Don't get it. It's just too good. Oh, baby. Oh, darling, can't get enough of your love, babe. This is my high school years here, okay? This is what we listened to in high school when we weren't rocking out on the Stones. Yeah. Can't get enough of your love, babe. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the chat box and close out our show here, shall we? Let's start. Let's go over to Facebook. Start over there, Russ. Sorry, my laptops. I should have brought the power. Good morning, Dickhead. Patriots, thank you, Amy. Right back at you. Yo, Vic, it's that crazy Smokey Bear from X. Charles Myers. Anytime, buddy. Anytime. Definitely crap. What was her name? Rochelle Lewinsky. Or no, not Lewinsky. That was somebody else. Anyway, she's full of crap. We played that on That's Crap. Good morning, Freedom Fighters. Thank you, Tom. GMFFVH from Barb. Having Ken withdrawal. Hoping you're having a great time with your family. Ken, Vic is being strong in your absence. And Ashlyn's doing a great job. Oh, boy. Scooter and Michael Burton on the same day. Although Mr. W is essential to the success of the show, this young woman is doing an outstanding job. I agree. Ken is the show. And, Ashlyn's just doing a great job. Michael Burton. But what if it was a war crime, Vic? Do you support the U.S. committing war crimes? But it wasn't a war crime. What if? What if the Queen had bawled she'd be king, right? So, did you see Trump get mercilessly booed at the U.S. Open? No, Michael. You know why? Because it didn't happen. There was more people cheering for him than booing him. And Scooter says, to be fair, boos and cheers. Only Scooter is, boy, Scooter's on fire today, I guess. How does Mr. Quann feel about Canada becoming the 51st state? Sorry, I didn't see that soon enough. When his face was put up on the Jumbotron, it was more boos or cheers. It was more cheers, Michael. Sorry, buddy. I believe Indigenous people are called the First Nation in Canada. Oh, there you go. You know, because we have Native Americans. Why don't they have Native Canadians? Right? Why don't they have to say that up there? Why do we have to do all the asking? Question from Miss Puszkar. Any updates on Mike Dominguez? She did not. She's got a gag order. She can't talk about that, so don't you get her in trouble. Cindy Giordano. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Not enough parents show up and get involved. You're right. You know, more people need to get involved. Parents need to get out to the school board meetings and speak, or nobody's going to hear you. If the Francis Howell School District is your kid's school district, call Jane and talk to her, and she'll coach you and help you with what you need to say. It's being reported that Ken is training to be an ICE agent on his time off. See how these guys are okay. Scooter, Michael Burton, we can still be friends and still make fun of each other. It's great. Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you, Allison, Vic, and Ashlyn. U.S. Woo. Yeah. Scotty Downey, U.S. Oh, he did the Pledge of Allegiance for us. He's a Navy chief. Good morning, all freedom fighting patriot Vic heads. Wish my brothers and sisters. We should have not given the ball back. It was not a good lesson for his son to give it to Karen. Oh, the baseball situation. You know, here's the thing, and I'm not sure if it's being a beta or he's being smart and playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, because if he would not give that ball back, that would have been part of the viral video all weekend long. The kid never would have met Harrison Bader. I mean, you have to understand, these teams want a good image. They want a positive image, so more fans will come out to the park. So if he's a bigger man and he says, you know, take it, just get out of my face, go away, get out of my sight. And it turned out very well for the kid. He got to meet Harrison Bader. I'm sure he got a picture, autograph bat, and all that stuff. I wish we had Harrison Bader back. Boy, I do too. He and Tommy Edman made the Cardinals exciting. It's funny that Harrison Bader, when he was on the Cardinals, he had really long hair, and it looked cool when he ran around the bases. And then he went to the Yankees, and they have a rule of no long hair. You have to have short hair and no facial hair. You can have mustache, but no beard. Part of the rules. You don't want to do it? Get off the team. You don't play. Ashlyn, you have to thundersteal from Vic. You don't have to thundersteal. But if you feel you must, then you can. Karen should have been kicked out of the game. It's much more rewarding to see the look on a kid's face when you hand that ball to a kid than to see the look when you take it from them. I'm telling you, the thing now to do, if you catch a foul ball or a home run ball, you catch it, you hold it up, and woo, because you're half drunk by that time, right? Woo! And then you give it to, a kid next to you. I'm telling you, I've seen videos of young kids, 10-year-old kid, has his glove, snared a line drive, turned around and gave it to this really cute chick sitting behind him. And I don't mean a little girl, I mean an older girl. So kid's going to be fine in life. He's going to be great. Yep. R.I.P. Rick Davies, singer-songwriter and keyboardist for Supertramp. That's why we played Bloody Well Right, because that's him on the keyboards there. Breakfast in America was a great album. I agree, just not my bag. Bloody Well Right. And I'm not saying I don't like Supertramp, by the way. If I say it's not my bag, it doesn't mean that it's my unbag. It doesn't make any sense. But, I liked the grittier, the bluesier songs, bands, like the Beatles and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and the Who. Those are my collective backs, those four bands. The other side is only trying to that's right, bloody well right, Cubist. The other side is only trying to divide. Every day we say the Pledge of Allegiance or someone says it for us. I got trouble on Friday, by the way, because I left the word indivisible out when I did it, and they wanted to hang me in Town Square. So I apologize, and a Navy chief did it today. But anyway, the point is, the word indivisible needs to be in there because we should be indivisible no matter what happens. It's not just about religion. It's about common sense, two genders. My wife and I went to the World War II event in Arnold last night. It was a hoot. Great. Thank you, Barry, for going to that. That's awesome. We have awesome listeners. They're Arabic, not Palestinian. Hey, y'all, hit the like button and share the show. Really, it won't kill you, and it helps out the show. Would it kill Ashley? Would it kill you to hit the like button? She is so not used to this at all. That's fine. So anyway, yeah, if you could hit the like button, helps us. If you could share the video with others, that helps us out too. Francis Howell School District should be arrested for providing minors with pornography material. That's why somebody like Jane, Jane Puszkar, she ran for the school board in Francis Howell, and I'm not gonna say we helped her, but we tried to do our best to get her on the air, get her voice on the air and her views on the air and her local values on the air, and she won. So that's got to mean something, right? But there's a lot of loony lefties up there, I'm telling you, and we cannot let them win. When you have transgender surgery, how many sex choices do you have? 2 male or female? Is the Bible in the library? Yes, Allison, there's 4 copies. And Jane was like, it's not enough, should be more. But getting back to the transgender surgery, if you were born a male, with the weenie, and then you want to have literal transgender surgery where you have different parts down there, first of all, pleasure doesn't happen anymore. That's done. No more pleasure. You know what I'm talking about. And B, you have to do things to make that thing, the girl's thing, be what it is. It doesn't just happen, But the worst part about it is no pleasure. And you had pleasure before you did it. So if you want no pleasure, go right ahead. Just don't make your kids do it. Yes, you have to stand up and fight for Jessica. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to stand up and fight. Good for Jessica. Yeah, she does not. Let me tell you something. My wife does not take anything from anybody, okay? And I'm first on the list. Can I tell you something else, though? Because you also know she's awesome, right? My wife bought me a Nespresso machine. Makes espresso coffee. And we're learning it, we're learning what the different flavors and what the different strengths and stuff are and brews and colors. I drank 3 espressos last night at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I was wired, jumping off the walls, but I found the one I like. It's Costa Rica. Shout out to the Yenzer family. Oh, I'm sorry. Shout out to Yenzer Family Dental in Chesterfield Alley for supporting AMVET Smoking for Veterans Barbecue Bash 2025. They need sponsors, and you can do that by getting in touch with Paul. You know what, Ashley, if you could just do me a favor and just copy that website there, that .org website by Paul, and put it up somewhere so people can help raise some money for the AMVETs, okay? Vic and Jessica need some grandbabies. Well, I'm not sure that's going to happen. I really don't. For a million reasons, and I'm okay with it. I know my wife is dying to be a grandma, but I will be the grouchy grandma. Get down, get off, get out, get down. But my wife would love it. But, I have 3 kids. I don't think any of them, maybe my middle daughter, Marielle, in a few years. So it might happen. If it happens, we'll let you know. And we'll hand out real cigars, not bubblegum cigars. Missing Ed Stoit. Yeah, where is Ed? Where in the world is Ed Stoit today? He's not around. Michael Burton has TDS. He does. But you want to know the truth? Michael Burton is on the opposite side of the fence from us, for sure. But he also throws in a little comment that kind of says, hey, Vic, we don't hate you. We just disagree. And I think that's fair. He had a really funny comment in the Facebook chat. He says it's being reported that Ken is training to be an ICE agent on his time off. That's kind of funny, right? That's kind of like Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill stuff. When Ronald Reagan was president and Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, they would argue and yell at each other in the halls of Congress and the floor of Congress, and then they go out and have cigars and scotch together. It's got to be. There's got to be. I don't know, and I don't know where Ed Stoit is. Paul, I'm sorry, I don't know. He's absent. We'll have to get an absentee card for him, and also a reason why he was not here from his don't know, guardians or whatever. All right. So, Ashlyn, I got to tell you, you're doing a great job. And I love that. Yeah, you can get rid of it. I love that you are doing stuff, taking chances, playing stuff that Ken plays, because I know in your head, you're saying, oh, I hope he doesn't think I'm Ken Williams. I don't do it. Ken Williams does. But I don't want you to think like that. And you're coming in, you're doing a great job. You're pushing all the right buttons. And that's more than half the battle. That's 3/4 of the battle, or 99% of the battle. Doing it, just pushing the buttons. Because Ken sucks at this. He's terrible at this. There it is. PSPUHL at moamvetsriders.org. I'll read that to you again. For sponsors. They need sponsors for this event. It's great. It's in Ellisville. It's great food, and it's great people. So it's P as in Paul, because that's his name, PSPUHL at moamvetsriders.org. I told my wife, hey, we're going to this barbecue thing for the bikers. She said, well, I'm in. Let's do it. Now, Ethan Way, if you know where Ethan Way is, it's right here. You make a right at Ethan Way, and that's where you find Ethan at his desk. And if you make a left at Ethan Way, you'll go outside and you'll see his car, which is completely wrapped with News Talk STL. It's a Dodge Challenger, great looking car. And when he's out on the road, say hi, take a picture. He'll stop and take a picture with you. And also you can meet him, face to face, and meet the car face to face at the St. Anne Car Show in St. Anne Park, Saturday. That is that this Saturday? Yeah, this Saturday, the 13th at the St. Anne Car Show in St. Anne Park. And then he'll also be at the Nick Schroer State Senate campaign kickoff at Stone Ledge Distillery in Defiance, Missouri. Nick's going to, be reelected in the Missouri State Senate. Whew. I'm exhausted. 3 hours, 3-hour tour. It's good. 3 hours is good. So tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Tuesday. We'll have all our regular Tuesday people. And I'm sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place for that. I can't do it now. Sorry. So I'll have somebody fill in for me as Ashlyn fills in for Ken during this week of Ken's vacation. And he, this is the kind of guy Ken Williams is, by the way. He called me on Friday night, I think it was. And I missed the call because you people make me turn the ringer off so the ringer doesn't go on the air. And I never forget to turn it back on. And I missed his call. And I was like, God, how did I miss his call? So I texted him and said, sorry, I missed your call. And he never looks at his texts ever. Have you tried to text Ken? He doesn't. No, don't bother. He doesn't look at them at all. But he always answered the phone. So I called him and I said, hey, man, aren't you on vacation? He's got to be, because he's great. He does what he does, and he doesn't just do the show. He lives the show, and I appreciate that. But when he's on vacation, just go on vacation. Is he still contacting you? Is he still emailing you? Yeah. He is, right? Yeah. I don't understand. I mean, I love this place. Trust me. I am the happiest, not the happiest. That was a bad thing to say. I'm very happy when I'm here at the station with people that I work with and people that I work for. And I know that, I would probably do the same thing, but not to that degree. More than likely, I would say, hey, I'm going on vacation, and I'm not going to see you guys for a while, okay? Nope. Not going to hear from me. Turning off the phone. Turning off the computer. Yeah, I say that now. Anyway, thank you for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning. We appreciate that. And Jamie Allman, the host of the 3 Martini Lunch, is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers. Sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hey, St. Louis golfers. Looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis